What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Well, happy Friday. Got Jadarion, and a few people in the building already. How you doing on this Friday, Coop?
Busy as always.
As
What about you?
always, man, Fridays is always that day where it just goes by like that. Like I got an early start this morning too. Got out, had my first couple meetings at like 8:30, and then it's 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Like it's insane. Did people get their alerts? Yeah, I just got my alert. Boom. People say, what's good? Shout out to Frank Wizard in the building, man. We're going to talk about a lot today, man. Hit Boy released the album. Highly anticipated effort. Surfer Drown. And Lloyd Banks released a record with Method Man that we're going to get to. Method Man is on fire right now, right?
Where you want to start? You want to start with the man? Many
Uh,
methods.
we'll let some people come in the room first, man. And there's something I did want to talk about. It kind of piggybacks on something that we ended Wednesday's episode with. Low Key from Apple Music's Rap Life Review show with Ebro and Nadeska. He made a statement, and shout out to Low Key because I feel like he be watching the show. He be very responsive on Twitter and stuff, whatever. But he put out him and someone else on the show. Sorry, I missed their name right now. They were debating about Wayne in the verses, and Low Key says that 50 Cent would beat Wayne in the verses, and a lot of other people have piggybacked on that, and proclaiming that to be true. Ebro being one of them as well. I think DJ Envy also agreed with that. I don't know if that, and I know Ebro's originally from the West Coast, but I don't know if there's some New York bias going on there. Do you think 50 Cent would beat Wayne in the verses? Let me ask you straight up.
Off the top of my head, I would tell you yes. Because the verses isn't about the better catalog. If so, Outkast would beat everybody except for Wu-Tang. It's
And
about
Tribe. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
it's about a package deal almost. It's like, how good is your package deal? As in, like, the short, quick synopsis of what you got. How good is that? For some groups, you don't see their greatness maybe in full scope, like an Outkast, until you go get to about song 30, 35, 40. But that's not gonna, you know what I'm saying, work as well in this format. And so what I'll tell you is 50's a problem in this format.
He is.
Because he's got big records. It's like, how about this? It's like Lollipop or 21 Questions.
That's 21 questions.
What, Fireman or Disco Inferno?
Disco Inferno.
You feel what I'm
Easy.
saying? And it's like, so it's like In the Club. What,
Or
what,
a Millie, right? Yeah, that's in the club. Mad
right.
Max
So,
says 50 would beat Wayne in the verses.
so it's like, where is Wayne going to fade him at is what you're going to have to tell me. If you were to tell me Wayne's the better MC, we might be finding that out in a minute because we're going to put 50 through the rubric today.
Well,
But
I would love to see 50 do a versus, period, because there's this narrative out there that since his first album is so excellent, that's all he has. Now, 50 got records, man. You know what I mean? And for other people, I feel like we give them the feature credit and start naming records they were featured on, but we don't do that with 50. So you're not going to count So Seductive. You're not going to count How We Do and Hate It or Love It. You're not going to count, what's the other record I was thinking about? Out of Control with Mobb Deep. That's 5 records right there. 4 or 5 records right there just
Fire
on
with
some
Lloyd
feature
Banks.
shit. Huh?
Bonafide Hustler with Young
Oh,
Buck.
yeah. Not to mention Magic Stick with Kim.
No, so what
Those
I'm trying
are
to tell
tough
you is
records.
that, no, so what I'm trying to tell you is that, and this was what I was about to say, I actually think 50 would have a right to play How We Do or Hate It or Love It, just on the premise that it's a shared record. Like, I feel like Game should be able to perform that record and 50 should be able to perform that record, don't you?
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that those 2 records in
They
particular,
sound great together, by the way. You
they
forget the
do.
fact they sound really
And
good
and
together.
it's funny. I was thinking about that when I was putting together my top 50 songs list. And I'm like, man, 50 and Game sound great together. And I
Imagine
think
what it would have sounded like if they would have kept making tracks together.
exactly.
Like,
And I'm
we'd
like,
be talking about them as one of the greatest duos. We'd be talking about them the way we talk about Kiss and Styles and Ray and Ghost.
them two knocked it out of the park with just 2 records. Are those the only 2 records they're on together like that? They could have made a joint album together, to be perfectly honest. They sound good
Just
together.
them two, yes.
Yeah.
Just them two, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Esquire with the super chat says, can we put Lupe and Ludacris through the rubric today? Sure, y'all want to do that? We can do that. But yes, the other thing I was going to say, man, it just made me think, well, it's funny, man. I don't want to get on this tangent here, but somebody brought to my attention, we were talking about lose yourself, and all of that. And a lot of people think that Stan is the better, candidate for top 50. I disagree with that because I think, again, Lose Yourself is his magnum opus. He performed it at the Super Bowl. I called it. I knew he was going to perform it at the Super Bowl, right? But it's funny, though, even with that song being what it is. And I think it came up because the anniversary of it being the first rap song to ever win an Oscar came up the other day. And somebody said, man, even when that song was out, that wasn't the hottest song on the soundtrack. Wankster got played more than that. I can't refute that.
50 also has Wankster for Wayne, since we're
How
kind of back around.
How can you have a top 50 record all time when it wasn't even the biggest song at the time on the soundtrack?
I mean, that's sometimes like how there are Hall of Famers who were top like 25, 30 players that never won MVP awards, like a Dwayne Wade. You know what I'm saying? It can happen.
I don't know if that's the same. It's on the same album, and it's kind of like I don't want to say a throwaway song for 50, but it's kind of a mixtape song.
You're saying it got played more on hip hop radio? Because it didn't get played more. It got played more on hip hop radio. So we need to.
Well, this is hip hop, right? This is hip hop, though, right?
Yeah, but
it's the top 50 hip hop songs, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
I mean, so how does that song get classified when it's getting played on other stations? Just because a hip hop song doesn't mean it can't get played on other stations.
I think
some of LL stuff deserves to be played on other stations. You know what I'm saying?
I think Lose Yourself is kind of a rock rap song. Because I know you always say that song's on some rap shit.
So Walk This Way.
Yeah, definitely. It was designed to be that way. But Lose Yourself's like
all the Beastie Boys
even
stuff.
With the hook. Right. Well, yeah, most of Beastie Boys stuff. But even with the hooks, like lose yourself in the moment, your moment. Like it's very rock rap like. Kind of some of the stuff that Linkin Park and them were doing.
I mean, you understand that a lot of our greatest rappers, like they do melodies that are more pop influenced than rap influenced. Biggie, Nelly, Ja Rule. Hello.
You think so? I think more R&B influence than pop influence.
I don't think so, Mike. I don't know if I agree with that sentiment.
Always on Time is more of an R&B thing, I think.
No, I mean like part of like cadence, delivery, simplicity of word usage,
relatability. Without you, I only think about. I don't know, man. Shout out to Ja Rule, man. He came with a real original style, I think. Peter Parks with the super chat says 50 Cent has a lot of heat off the Curtis album too. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that 50 did.
I Get Money.
Yeah. No, I really want 50 to do a versus. I really wish the 50 and T.I. thing would have went down. But I don't know if that was the matchup that people wanted to see like that. But since they're pulling Wayne into this conversation, it, like I said, it's making me feel like, okay, well, if Wayne is ranked so high for, certain generations or just in general, I don't think he should be. I don't think somebody like 50 should be able to beat him. You know what I mean? Like clearly, T.I. was confident enough of his chances with 50, and I think based on
somebody like 50. That's what I'm saying, though.
I'm saying somebody. I don't want to say somebody like 50, but somebody whose I guess rap career was really kind of in a 5-year span, where Wayne's is more of a 20+ year span,
like his life.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like. He should have that much more over somebody who, did it, I would say, between, 2002, 3-ish to maybe, 2007. Because,
I'll say, but I'll say this, though, Mike. I mean, the closest thing that we've probably seen to Snoop's Doggy stylish type of run in Ascension is 50's run.
I agree. And I
And
think
so
Get
it's a
Rich or Die
special run.
Trying is one of those special albums where you got a chance against anybody when you got an album like that.
It's a special run from a special guy. And what I'm saying is that that's what I mean. Is it's like, okay, Barry Sanders played 10 years, but Emmett Smith played like 15. But when you watch them both at their prime in the same 5-year span, it wasn't you get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so 50 is one of those guys that because of like his talent, and what I mean his talent is in his hook writing. Like he's one of rap's greatest hook writers. And
you think he makes better songs than Wayne? Because I do.
Wayne's catalog is too big for me to say that, but in a vacuum like this, yes.
Yeah.
Like how about this? If I needed one song right now, I would go to 50 because his track record says he's gonna he's a primetime performer too.
Like, I think it also speaks to what we were talking
about. He's a pressure bust pipes guy. I like guys like that.
Me
too.
You
know what I'm saying?
T.I.'s like that too, and I think that's why, I would have liked that matchup for those things. But to even pull this 50 and Wayne debate out of air or wherever it's coming from, it's kind of exposing some of the things that we talked about last week, where it's like Wayne's versatility, or I don't even want to say versatility because he's very versatile and agile stylistically, but his lack of range kind of makes it where he can only go so far on an all-time list. Because if you play a record like Many Men, where does Wayne go on a record that it takes on something of that, magnitude,
Probably
subject matter wise?
Probably I Miss My Dogs.
That's not good enough.
I mean, Many Men might be 50's best song too, though, Mike. I mean, that's going pretty high up on the ladder. But I get what you're saying. But here's what I mean is that somebody can have a better 20-year career than somebody that had a 10-year career because they had a 20-year career. But that 10-year player is better. You know what I mean? Like, how about this? I don't care what you say. Charles Barkley's better than Dirk. He didn't play as long. He didn't win a championship. No, we saw prime Charles Barkley. Dirk would.
I'm drafting him over Dirk. Yeah, I would.
Would want none of that smoke. You get what I'm saying? And so this is one of those conversations where Wayne is more like Dirk with that long career, and you know what I'm saying, and deserves to be in the conversation. But in a vacuum, it's like if you remember Charles, like Charles go get 25 and 25 in his prime.
Oh yeah, no question. But see, the thing is, man, it's like, are we giving Wayne a pass for not having range as an artist, and we're kind of just overlooking it because of the multitude of work that he's put in over the years? It shouldn't be one of those things where with somebody with an illustrious career as him and with the skill set as him, that we can't find a record that takes on the depth of something like a Many Men. Because even with somebody like Snoop, I could go directly to Murder Was the Case. Even with somebody like Jay, I could go directly to The Evils, right? Even with somebody like T.I., even I don't know if he'll beat Many Men, but he has records that I could say he took it there. You know what I mean? I'm just doing my job. Yeah, and that's why me personally, I've always had T.I. over Wayne because of his ability to have range as an artist and subject matter. He's touched on everything. And it's like in an all-time discussion, I think those things are blaring when it comes to Wayne. And the fact that people are able to bring up, someone with nowhere near the length of catalog or longevity of career and say that they would beat Wayne in a versus, I think is telling. Because I don't think 50 would beat, any of those other people we were talking about in the verses at all. Like, it wouldn't even be a question.
Well, what I will say is that, maybe this is why I like the rubric that we came up with, because it's like, Wayne is 29th on this rubric. And part of the way this rubric has been kind of set up is like, and listen to what I'm saying. I didn't make content or subject matter like really a subject in this matter, because I felt like when you're talking about classic songs, classic albums, quality, longevity. The content and the subject matter is kind of like a cream rising to the top situation. It's going to show itself without you having to say it and specify it. Instead of having to put a grade on it, you can look at the view of the catalog and see it in a sphere that way. Instead of always trying to just needle in and pinpoint it so much. It's like, no, just look at it. Look at the songs and you'll be able to say it. Because part of why I'm telling you, it's like, well, no, it's like, has Wayne had a better career than 50? Yes. But in a vacuum, do I think 50? It's like, oh, hell yeah. Because like 50's best 20? Ooh.
Yeah. Mad Max in the super chat says 50 on New York Times hook with J. Cole. 50 might smoke Wayne. No, he said Cole might smoke Wayne. Excuse me. No, he said 50 might smoke Wayne. My bad. I mean, I don't know if it'll be a smoking. Mad Max says 50 got How to Rob and Victory remix for Wayne. I don't even think he would go there.
And even if you look at the people who are in the 30s on our list, Mike, the only one that's noted for their content is Cole and Guru. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I think the only thing that Cole is missing on this list is like, you know, those knockdown classic efforts. And
yeah, he could use another banger or two. Like, bangers never hurt.
Yeah,
another banger or two wouldn't hurt.
And I think he can do it, man. I really do. I think Cole is one of those. Cole's one of those guys. He's done so much that other people haven't been able to accomplish. But the easy stuff that most people do coming out the gate, he hasn't fully done, and those things can be filled in easy.
I'm going to tell you what, he's the person that gets an A in calculus sometimes, but a B in geometry, and you're like, how did you do that? Like, geometry is just like triangles, squares, circles, and you got a B in that, but you got an A in calculus. We don't understand.
I was that guy. I was making stupid mistakes in geometry. It really was pissing me off, actually.
See?
Nicodemus. Nicodemus to the super chat says Jay Ski's album is fire. We got to get on that Jay Skis, man. Jay Skis be showing love to the show too.
I'm trying to plan this Juneteenth event, Mike. Trying to get Skis down here.
Okay, yeah, that'd be dope. Oh, and shout out to International GT. Yeah, we're gonna do that interview. We're gonna hit y'all back with some details.
Oh, did you talk to him?
Yeah, we reached back. We're gonna get some details going, and got something special coming up. But yeah, man, we got to get on that Jay Skis album and talk about that probably Wednesday.
Yeah. Shout out to my man LT out in Little Rock. He's plugged the Skis in the drum work. So
Joe Young with the super chat says, "Love how you guys are breaking down the MCs list. Can we get it done? Great show." Yes, we can get it done. We'll get it done. So y'all don't have to continue to come back to that. But we want to make sure that we get it done right, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the issue when people just run through these lists and just start putting people wherever. And then people are like, yo, how did you get to this? Mad Max in the super chat says, Wayne is AI. 50 is like Shaq. I don't understand the correlation, but he's really big on.
Shaq
50.
had a longer career than AI.
Yeah.
And AI in a vacuum to me is even like better than Wayne. Like, AI in a vacuum, Mike, is like, in a vacuum, he's actually the best little big man ever. It's just Isaiah and Curry have rings. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. I wouldn't take those guys in their prime. I would take AI in his prime, like, over both of them. He'd bust everybody ass.
Hold on. So if you had a draft, you had a blanket draft, and the people you had available were AI, Steph, and Isaiah, you picking AI?
As a GM?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
I was gonna say.
Not as a GM.
Yeah,
But what I'm saying is in a vacuum, you put him on the court. Like, from the moment he stepped on the NBA court, people have to understand, like, it's not normal for a rookie to average over 20 points. He averaged almost 24.
He changed things.
Height, Mike.
I mean, even if you look at
height.
his,
that's like grading on a curve, Mike. Getting 24 as a rookie at our heights, like averaging 35.
I mean, what's his career average? Is it like 30 or
It's
29
top
or
10
something?
all time, Mike. He's the only guy at that. Everybody else that's top 10 scoring average all time, Mike, is at least 6'6".
Let me see. I think he's number. I thought he was number 3.
No, Durant and LeBron have surpassed him now, so he's like 5 or 6 now. It's Mike, Will, and then I think it might be LeBron and Durant tied at third and fourth, and then it might be AI or Jerry West. Elgin Baylor's in there, I believe,
Let's,
still.
let's see where we at. We'll get the actual accuracy here. Just the NBA, we got Michael at 1, Wilt at 2, Elgin Baylor at 3, KD at 4, LeBron at 5, Embiid is 6, Jerry
Oh,
West
Embiid
7,
qualifies finally. He's played enough games. Look at that.
Jerry West is 7, and AI is 8.
There we go.
Yeah, his average
Embiid,
got dropped down to 26.6. But see, that's those washed years that did that.
that was just 2 washed years, but that
Yeah.
happened to everybody, including Mike in Washington. Think about what Mike's is without those 2 years in Washington, where he averaged, what, 22 and 20?
Right.
Right. He was at like 32, I think, at one point.
That
For a
happens to
career.
everybody. Yeah.
Well, you know, that's happening to Harden and Westbrook right now. It's going to happen to Embiid, so Iverson's probably going to end up 7th on this list.
Yeah, he's not too far behind. I
Yeah,
think
Embiid's going to slide. He's a big man. Akeem slid, Patrick
Yeah,
Ewing
he's gonna
slid, David
slide.
Robinson, Tim Duncan, Shaq. It's hard for the big men. Kareem's not on there.
Well,
There's a reason.
offensively, man, we're just in a different NBA right now. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the shits go up. I mean, if you look at every game, it's like 150 to 152, man. But it's a whole nother topic. Chris Daughtery with the super chat says, guys, that's why I said he shouldn't beat Ross. Wayne, outside of mixtapes and features, I think your albums have to be up there. Yeah, and you know what? That's interesting. I don't think Wayne would beat Ross either.
See, but that's that vacuum, and it would be more of a. I think Wayne versus Ross is more of a comparable fight. Like, people have to forget, like, 50 made haymakers for a while, like haymakers. It's it was a while. It was a while before I cut off the radio and didn't hear 50.
I think we might need the 50 and Ross. Probably not going to get that.
That's better, but Ross needs to have full availability, because he can take some pieces of that 20 back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, he gonna need everything for 50.
Yeah, but he has stuff for 50, though.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I like that. He got stuff for 50.
Or the game. The game in 50. Conflict of interest with How We Do.
How We Do and Hate It or Love It. Because I would like, because those are on the documentary. And so Game would probably pull a card and be like, well, I should get to play those records. And 50 would probably pull a card and talk shit and be like, but you couldn't make those motherfucking records without me.
Yeah.
Right.
Mad Max of the super chat says.
That's problematic.
Mad Max of the super chat says, AI had the cultural impact on the NBA like Wayne does. He's a volume scorer like Wayne is a volume rapper who makes 5 bad songs for every 1 good song.
See, I don't know about that. See, I think people, that's why I'm saying, like, AI is more of an anomaly even than Wayne. Wayne comes from a crew. You know what I'm saying? Wayne was cultivated. AI was raw. Like, AI was doing moves that got banned, Mike. Remember the Reebok commercial?
Yeah.
Where he did the move and he swung it, but when he turned, he...
I don't know if
you can't do that on the court. You're going to score 50.
I don't know if I've shared this on the show before. But the last song that I really, really liked from Wayne, as far as like mic performance, was Rich as Fuck. And I feel like...
Hold on, you mean as far as his song?
Uh-huh.
Or just appearance? Because he's had guest appearances.
No, I'm just talking about his song.
Okay.
And I feel like, I have no proof, but it's just my opinion. Those lyrics on that song sound very 2 Chainz influenced.
I knew you were about to say that.
Never talk to the cops. I don't speak pig Latin. I turn a penny to a motherfucking Janet Jackson. Like, the humor in that's all 2 Chainz. Even the whole bitch niggas go behind your back like nunchucks, and that's fucked up. That is 2 Chainz. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wayne is very witty as well, Mike.
Is he witty like that though? Like 2 Chainz is Hilariously witty on the mic. That doesn't sound like 2 Chainz to you? Tell these bitches they be hating, I ain't got no worries.
I
I
already
just
know who
want to
Chainz
hit and
is,
run
Mike.
like
Mike, I know. I hear what you're saying, Mike. We're just gonna say less.
Zodiac Killer. All
Besides,
rats gotta die. Even Master Splinter. Like, picture it with the 2 Chainz voice. You can hear it, right? Even the flow. It's crazy. Mad Max with the super chat says, possible questionable pen. I'm just being real, we gotta keep it a buck here. Mad Max with the super chat says, I don't know, Coop. Not saying it in a vacuum. Saying it in a vacuum. He's taking AI over Zeke. AI could cross up Jordan. Isaiah was beating him at higher IQ, better passer, more clutch. Zeke is just great.
Okay, so let me ask you something. If you were to give Allen Iverson in his prime, Joe Dumars, Mark Aguirre, Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn, Dennis Rodman, you don't think he can win a championship? When he went to the NBA Finals with the Dikembe Mutombo and Aaron McKee
Eric
and
Snow at point.
Eric Snow?
Mm-hmm.
So let's keep it funky. He took a game off a prime Kobe and Shaq in LA. If he just would have had a Joe Dumars and Dennis Rodman, he would have won 2 or 3 rings.
This is what I'm going to say, though.
Easy.
It seemed interesting.
With Kobe and Shaq around.
I guess he did prove it when he went to Denver.
Talking about is absurd.
When he went to Denver.
What are you saying? Did you see that team he took to the finals?
No.
If you were to give him Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn, Mark Aguirre, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, taking rings off of niggas' fingers.
You're
Shaq,
right.
Kobe, hand me some of your rings. Shaq,
Listen,
Duncan, Kobe, hand me some of your rings.
At the end of the day, if Iverson would have just gotten the opportunity to play with Shaq like Kobe did in that era, he would have rings. It is what it is. Now,
stop playing with me.
And when AI played with Denver and went and played with Melo, it showed that he could actually make that work. I think a lot of people didn't think that he would be able to flourish with such a offensive heavy, teammate, and he did. He actually put up better numbers than Billups did, and they actually won the same amount of games. Now, what happened was they lost in the playoffs in, what was that, was it the first or second round?
I think it was second round.
Yeah, and I think Chauncey was able to take them maybe to the third round.
Conference finals.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But they made it seem like Chauncey changed the team all the way around, but it really wasn't that big of a difference.
See, here's what people forget that year is that, AI was top 10 in scoring and assists that year in Denver.
Yeah. They didn't give.
That's what I'm saying.
They didn't give AI and Melo a chance to really work. They broke them up after 1 year.
How about this? No. Give Iverson, Clay, and Draymond. He's gonna have 2 or 3 rings. Oh. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Imagine if he would have had somebody.
I don't know about that one.
Hold on. Think about this. You think if he got Clay and Draymond, he's losing to Kobe and Shaq 4-1?
They're gonna lose, but not 4-1.
It's going 7 games, ain't it?
Maybe 6 or 7. Shaq was a beast, man. You can't account for Shaq.
I mean, you acting like LeBron isn't the equal of a problem.
Oh no, LeBron's something else.
No. LeBron's one of the few players say it's no, Shaq's a problem. So is LeBron. Equal the problem. The problem's equal, not greater than. The problem's equal. Because Shaq dominates, but LeBron does everything, Mike. He does everything.
But you know what? The thing that's interesting about Shaq, though, Shaq's presence changes everything. When him right there in the paint, that changes everything on both ends. Now, I get you. LeBron changes everything with his ability and his spacing and how he's able to move and his production. Shaq doesn't even have to be productive to change anything. Just the fact that he's there changes everything.
I'm just saying, it's something that if you were to kind of measure it out, it would probably even itself out. Yeah. It's probably in a finals settings. I will tell you, in Shaq's favor, Shaq's a better finals performer than almost everybody who ever lived except Michael Jordan. People forget that about Shaq. Yeah, Shaq is next to Mike, Shaq is probably the best finals performer ever, Mike. If you go look at his final stats, especially those Lakers numbers, Mike, those Lakers numbers are Wilt-like.
Yeah.
The Lakers finals numbers, like when he's in the finals with the Lakers, those are Wilt-like numbers. Like in modern day times, it's like, no, there are other 7-foot guys walking around.
Nobody could stop him. I remember watching it. And I remember rooting against the Lakers during that time. And it was just
I
nothing
think
that
he
could
had
be
a
done.
38-16 finals or something like that. It's like he averaged 38 and 16. It's like those are Wilt numbers. It's 2000. What the hell going on? Like, who is this man child?
Mad Max of the Super Chat says he couldn't play with no good players. He had Melo and he got Smoke. AI was a selfish ball hog, and the Sixers ran their plays in the weak East. So stop.
Mad Max, how would you know? In the East wasn't weak. I believe Ray Allen and Sam Cassell and Glenn Robinson were on the team together. I believe Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady were on the team together.
I'm not going to front. I mean, I don't know where Mad Max is getting this from because clearly he wasn't around for this, but he's right. The East was kind of weak in that era.
No.
Because after Jordan left, it took a lot out of the East.
See, when you're saying that the East is weak, it's like you're really not telling the full story. It's not that the East is weak. It's that literally in the Western Conference, 4 of the 20 greatest players of all time are playing in one conference. And that's Shaq, Kobe, Duncan, and Garnett. They're literally all in the West. Of course the West is better.
And hold on. We can't front. Malone and Stockton were still good. And you had, the Spurs were good.
Alive.
Yeah.
Barkley was still alive.
Yeah,
Scotty was over there. Rasheed Wallace was over there before he went to Detroit.
Yep. Because
they just had
Portland.
the players. So, but it's like you can't control where you get drafted. Mike, you got drafted to Philly in the East.
And the Spurs had just come off a championship. Now the East, the Knicks were. I mean, when the Knicks made it to the finals, being the 8th seed in that short strike year, yeah, man, the East was kind of weak. It is what it is.
No, I never felt that way about it. I just felt like that's a styles make fight thing. They caught Miami. They were perfect for Miami, and they hated Miami. So
Miami was a good team.
Yeah, that Miami's the team that actually should have represented the East that year.
Yeah, Miami,
it's
but they choked.
They choked, and the Knicks had an axe to grind, and they hated each other. So it was like, want to get them in the worst way. It was like that extra motivation.
That was a very physical series.
It was.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says, AI fans can only bring up 0-1. Your man's just as whack as Westbrook.
If that's the case, why is he still on the top 10 scoring list? And explain to me why he's the only guy on the top 10 scoring list that's, not 6'6".
So would you draft AI over Westbrook?
Hell yeah. Westbrook it's not even a conversation.
Okay. Sean with the Super Chat says, before T-Mac went to Orlando, T-Mac almost got traded to the Sixers. Damn, league blocked it. Imagine that duo. Now, I've never heard that. I've heard about the Bulls thing, but I didn't know about that. Y'all put me on.
I'll tell you this about AI, Mike. Like, this is no lie. It's like, I really just think that he should have been moved to the 2 very, very early on. And I think by the time Larry Brown kind of got there, it was even too late. It's something that should have happened. It's something that should have happened from jump. It's like, no, slide him over here at the 2. We need to find a 6'7" point guard. You see what I'm saying? To balance it out. You know what I'm saying? Because he's short, but he's our 2. Because he's really the first. He's the first real combo guard where it's well, he has all the 2 guard skills. Technically,
and a point guard's body,
but the point guard skills too, Mike, in terms of handle ability, you couldn't take the ball from him really. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you want him bringing the ball up the court. He has the best handles on the court.
I see the AI and Wayne correlation. I think my thing with AI watching him back in the day, well, early on it was different because he would just go by you, but once he kind of settled in his career, I noticed that, with, like you said, the height thing, it took him a lot of dribbling and pump faking to get a shot off, because most of his defenders were just towering over him. And when you do that, you create a situation where a lot of people are just standing around watching. And that creates a situation where people say that you're a ball hog and you're a selfish player and you're not a team player.
All the drives to the body early on took some of that out of him sooner than it should have. But that's why I'm saying, if he's your 2 guard, and not your point guard, as in somebody else is driving to the hole and setting him up for plays instead of him being the one to have to like bring the ball up the court, set up the play, run the play himself, be the main scorer. That's a wear and tear thing. Why do you think they keep trying to find viable point guards for LeBron as he ages? Because they understand it's like, hey, LeBron's older. LeBron can't take the ball up the court all the time and lead and run the offense anymore. Not that he can't. Mike, about the wear and tear of AI, what he did at his size, like having to run the ball up and down the court like that and set up the offense and do all that and be the main driver of the basketball. It's like, no, that's why I'm saying slide him to the 2, as in give him options other than those things. That takes wear and tear off a body, especially a smaller man's body. He probably could have played another 3, 4, 5 years had they just moved him to the 2 from the moment he got in the league.
I think he got pushed out the league. I don't think they ever really proved that he could no longer compete. I think they just start telling him to come off the bench.
And, he was averaging like 17 points.
And just like created a rift to, when you told him that he needed to come off the bench for, I forgot who it was in Memphis, but they shouldn't have been it was like somebody like Michael, what's his name?
Mike Conley? Was that
Conley?
Conley?
It was like Mike Conley or somebody like that. And it's like, no disrespect to Mike Conley, but can y'all at least prove that he needs to start over AI like that? Would you pick Dame Lillard over AI?
Huh?
You got Dame or AI? Who you drafting first?
Taking AI. Where's Dame taking the team? Like, he took that team to the finals.
Dame's in the West, though.
I don't care.
AI wouldn't have taken that team to the finals in the West.
Dame had a Western Conference Finals where Kevin Durant was hurt, and it was just Dame and Steph and McCollum and Clay, and they didn't even win a game. Do you think that would happen to Allen Iverson?
Okay.
In his prime, Mike.
That's fair.
Mike, he beat the Bucks single-handedly. They had 3 All-Stars. Glenn Robinson is an All-Star and borderline Hall of Famer. Ray Allen is a Hall of Famer. Sam Cassell is one of the primetime clutch players for his era and an All-Star in his time. 6 games. No, 7 games. Toronto, Vince Carter, Hall of Famer. Tracy McGrady, Hall of Famer. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, Dame wouldn't have done that because he hasn't.
Just you wrote with the super chat.
Love Dame.
Just you wrote with the super chat says AI and Melo was like Kyrie and Luka, a bunch of scoring but no defense, and they lost that first round. Billups made that team better. They lost in the first round. Billups made that team better.
But here's what I'll tell you: it's like you could have. That's why I'm saying AI needed a point guard like Chauncey Billups the same way Melo did. He's a scorer.
That's fair. Mad Max with the super chat says he was shooting 37% from the floor. AI was just coddled. Chuck, who was coddled. Excuse me. Chuck, who was allowed to carry. Trae Young does more on the court than AI ever did.
Look here. Look, Scotty and Ron Harper are bringing the ball up the court more than Mike during the second three-peat. Why do you think that is, Mike? You think they're a better decision maker than Michael Jordan? Or you think they're trying to keep the wear and tear down on Mike? Scotty ain't never averaged 8 assists a game. Mike has. People keep forgetting that, making it seem like Scotty's a better passer. Scotty never averaged 8 assists. Mike did.
You're right.
Wear and tear, Mike. Get the man some help. Be like, no. We need Ron Harper to bring the ball up the court sometimes to take the load off Scotty and Mike. We're getting older.
Like Kobe said, man, I ain't taking no charges, man. I seen what it did to Pippen and Bird's back. Kobe's like, let's play it smart out here. But yeah, okay, I see the correlation with the whole Wayne thing, right? And to get back to the music topics. So how does that affect Wayne overall as an all-time great MC if we don't really know who he would be able to beat in a versus, or we don't have the confidence on who he would be able to beat in the verses? And who do you think his matchup really should be if he does do a versus?
Man, I don't want to discount his catalog. It's just his catalog is really hard to define because some of his best moments, most rappers' best moments belong, and you'll find them on notable features and notable albums. Like you'll know where to go to. Him, not so much. Like, we're going to talk about this Lloyd Banks song in a minute. It's like, no, like, it's like, I was just thinking, Method Man is probably the best guest appearance artist ever, because it's like, who has more notable features over a course of time and who has better quality features over a course of time? And just in terms of like, keep on going to the well and contributing to a dope ass record. And it's like, but we know where to find those records.
Yeah.
And it's like with Wayne, it's like, well, hold on. Like, like, here's what I'm saying. Like, in a versus format, I don't think Lollipop is necessarily one of Wayne's 20 best records. But I know because of the format. Yeah. But I know because of the format, he's going to have to play it. That doesn't play well. That's what I'm saying.
I think, you know.
How is Go DJ going to hold up against some of 50's haymakers?
Exactly.
Like, how's Go DJ sound against I Get Money?
I was going to say Go DJ, and all this dude got to do is drop What Up Gangsta or something that wasn't even really a single like that.
We'll talk about What Up Gangsta.
Yeah, like What Up Gangsta would crush that record. Yeah.
Still hurt.
Yeah. 50 only has to win 11, right?
Right, like Stunting Like My Daddy. Like 50 has stuff that can take stuff like that off the board. So does a DMX.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you think he would do versus somebody like Common? Even though it's like a totally different type of world. Like, what do you think about Common?
I think the great records that Common has are... This is the thing, man, and this is no disrespect to Manny Fresh or anything, but I think this is why Wayne was talking about how he had to switch up his sound, because sonically, are you gonna put any of those songs up against the 6th Sense? Like, how are you even gonna be able to sustain against the power of the corner, or you know what I mean, and records like that just come through the speaker in that way?
But is Common's 20 strong enough to fade Wayne? Because you know Wayne has a lot.
I think Wayne's stuff might be more notable, and that would be in his benefit, and that would be to his advantage. Excuse me, but I think that if we're talking about from a quality standpoint, yeah, I'm going Common, but I don't. I think in a real life scenario, Wayne would win that just for the notoriety and the energy of some of those records. But I'll tell you what, Wayne can't even step in that arena with somebody like Kanye West, who's done it all, you know? And we don't even want to talk about him. Like, you don't even stand a chance. Will Wayne even beat Cam? I don't even think Wayne will beat Cam.
No, I think he might beat Cam.
I don't know. I'm not confident. No, I don't know. Because if he starts playing the I Really Mean It.
But I would pick Wayne.
Okay.
I would feel confident in picking Wayne.
Okay.
Not to discount Cam.
What records would you play from Wayne if if let's just say we hypothetically did a versus? What are your go-to records?
I mean, see, I'm different, Mike, but I'm probably gonna play. I'm gonna play Money on My Mind.
All right, well, let me respond to that with I Really Mean It.
That's cool. I still think Money on My Mind's a better record. I Really Mean It's probably the bigger record. That's what I'm saying. Like, I get what you're saying. But Wayne has like stadium flow records too, like the Got Money record with T-Pain. I would probably have to play that. A Millie has to get played. Lollipop has to get played. 6 Foot, 7 Foot.
Definitely.
She Will with Drake could get played. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of that Young Money stuff, I wouldn't know how to classify, because if he starts pulling some of those out, like some of those Wayne and Drake bangers from when they was like really, really running shit for a few years, it's like, no, it's viable. I could see him beating Cam.
Okay. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, y'all said Nas's recent run has never been seen, but the Isleys has a hit in 8 decades. But y'all in love with the Beatles. Hits in 8 decades. Listen, Eric, I have been on this show explicitly saying that the Isley Brothers are better than the Beatles. I also said Earth, Wind & Fire is better than the Beatles, and I said that Parliament Funkadelic's better than the Beatles, in my opinion. So that's
I'm just
not.
saying that because you're black, though. None of y'all have listened to the Beatles catalog from beginning to end. Tell me that you have.
I have, but yeah.
What's
And I
your favorite
respect the
Beatles
Beatles.
album, Mike? What's your favorite Beatles album?
Sergeant Pepper's is. I mean, I got
Okay.
that. I mean, I still got that on CD. But
Not on CD.
yeah, I got that on CD. But yeah, man. I mean, the Beatles are a great group, very dope group, and I think that for
No,
me,
I told you I'm with you on the Isley Brothers. With the Isley Brothers, you're saying something, but Parliament and Earth, Wind and Fire don't have enough like of a catalog to like.
whoa, come on now.
No, they didn't, Mike. Not long enough at the peak. Like, what's Parliament? Name Parliament Funkadelic's 5 biggest songs, Mike.
I'm gonna go Knee Deep, Flashlight. Huh?
It's not enough. Like you went to Knee Deep. That's not enough.
Knee Deep is huge. What you mean that's not enough? You gonna make me want to play that record right now?
It's not enough. Please don't get us flagged.
Atomic Dog, right.
It's not enough.
Nah, okay. Man, their shit's like cut through, man. Look, again, I think that might be more of a personal preference. I think they're a better band. I mean, Eddie Hazel. Eddie Hazel on the guitar.
I listen to the Isley Brothers probably more than I listen to any R&B group. Like, I'm just an objective thinker about stuff. So if you say the Isley Brothers, say yes. If you say Parliament, it's like I'm gonna be like Parliament. Like, how many records? Which records? How many? 20? Not for 20 records. You tripping? Earth, Wind and Fire for 20 records? No. Not for 20.
You didn't watch Earth, Wind and Fire and Isley Brothers versus? Because you know what? I picked the Isleys, but Earth, Wind and Fire actually won.
I think some of that is about selection. I've seen it. I took care of Earth, Wind and Fire once when I lived in California, actually. They're wonderful guys.
Incredible band.
Classy people. Classiest.
Incredible musicians. Songwriters, performers. I think they had the, I love the funk of Parliament Funkadelic, but if I'm going to speak objectively, I think Earth, Wind and Fire had the best band of the 70s. Incredible band. And the way their stuff comes through, like, it's beautiful, man. The Way of the World, like, these are beautiful records. Jay Short with the Super Chat said, Zeke wanted to win no matter what it took, even if he scored 10 points. AI wants to win as long as he gets his 25 shots.
That's easy when you have like 3 other guys that can go get you 20. Like Mark Aguirre was an all-star and 20-point per game scorer. Same thing with Joe Dumars. Like you literally had 2 other guys that go get you 20, 25 any night. Like stop saying that. James Edwards, Vinny the Microwave Johnson. Like these aren't regular players. Like these are guys that can go get you 10, 15 points every night. You know, the Pistons had about 10 guys that can go get you about 10 to 15 points. And about 3 guys that can go get you 20.
They had a lot of guys. Eric Terrell with the Super Chat says, Coop, have you heard Maggot Brain? Telephone Bill? Shoot, I'll Stay? Shit. Incredible records. Mad Max with the Super Chat.
No, I've never heard them before in my life.
Mad Max with the Super Chat says, I saw a TikTok and R&B song written by R. Kelly. And I don't care. Prince and Janet can't fade MJ. Like Coop always says, R. Kelly is the only person with a chance. Huh.
It's not what I said about that nasty bastard.
R. Kelly could beat a lot of people in the verses.
Oh, yeah. Like, he would beat most people, just none of the 3 people he named.
Nah,
not beating those 3 people. Now, hold on. He's not beating those 3 people and Stevie or Marvin Gaye or Bob Marley. Everybody else in black music fair game after that, though. Like, he would beat like an Al Green. Like, how about this? I take R. Kelly shit better than the Isley shit from beginning to end. Got the Isleys beat.
Can I be perfectly honest here? And I know the Beatles catalog and stuff. But the person who always ends up in these conversations who I really don't know their material like that, Bob Marley. I mean, I know his stuff, but I don't know his stuff. And maybe that's just, my...
Do you not like reggae music?
It's cool. I listen to it. I don't, pull it up and listen to it in length. And maybe I should more, but maybe that's just my foundational
You
Black
should,
American
because it's
roots.
communion music. I think it's the music. I think Bob Marley is like where everybody in music like really agrees. It's like, no, I like that shit too.
I mean,
Like
I hear all the stuff that people are
he
saying.
inspired Stevie. Even what Master Blaster, We Be Jamming.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Stevie's like ode to Bob. Like, so like he's like impactful like that. He inspired Stevie, like musically, like even like view wise. Yeah. So
I need to get more into it, man. I mean, people
yeah.
need to send me that or let me know what album I need to go to first.
Exodus. Just start with Exodus.
Okay, I'll start with Exodus, and but yeah, as far as people saying that Bob's better than Michael Jackson and stuff, it's like, man,
Buffalo Soldier.
I'm not qualified for this
Rasta.
conversation.
Like a lot of rapper shit. The Buffalo Soldier, Dreadlock Rasta. That's a whole song, Buffalo Soldier.
Mm-hmm. Now I've heard the song.
That's what I'm saying. You don't love that shit?
I mean, I like it, but I'm not saying that Stevie, Prince, Michael level, at least not to my ears. I mean, they're dope records. And it could be one of those things where you just kind of had to be there to understand what it was like before he came along.
I think it's a feeling thing, too.
Yeah.
I think you got to feel a certain type of way to feel Bob. You know what I'm saying?
Sean with the super chat says, Mike, Kanye's music sounds dated, to be kind. So stop acting like Kanye's music is great, respectfully. Nobody is riding around listening to Kanye music. See, I see what you're trying to do here. You're trying to pull the Eminem thing on me with Kanye. That's not true.
Are people riding around to Kanye's music right now, though, Mike?
Yes, they are, man. Come on, man.
I'm just asking questions. questions.
So people don't ride around to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I guess.
I'm asking questions. I didn't know Power was still getting played.
Hey, I mean, you guys tell me. Are y'all not? Are people just not listening to it because of who he is, of what he's become as a personality? I mean, you tell me, Coop. You were at that arena where all those people showed up to hear some new music. Hard for me to believe that none of them are listening to it.
Very hard to believe.
Yeah. Jay Short with the super chat says, Coop, AI would have won with the Bad Boys because he's not going to feed Mark Aguirre. He said he wouldn't have won with the Bad Boys because he's not going to feed Mark Aguirre or Microwave when they get hot. Zeke knew mismatches.
First of all, Microwave was often Isaiah's replacement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was that energy off the bench.
Right. So he actually was the one that would usually come in and sub Isaiah out. And that's part of what made them so lethal is because you had somebody that actually comparable-wise in spurts could score comparable to Isaiah. He could come in 15 minutes and give you 15 points.
Well, here's the question, and I think this is where the ideological differences are. I think people feel like AI didn't want to play with any volume scores because he wanted the ball. But I kind of feel like AI just never got the opportunity to play with anybody.
They gave him everybody too late, like Chris Webber. Like they gave him Webber late. It's like imagine him and Webber if he would have got a prime Webber, they would have went to the finals and won a ring.
The Sixers' whole plan was to build a defensive shield around AI. So nobody was going to want the ball, but everybody was kind of there to support his scoring. That, like, you look at that team, that's a defensive team. You got Theo Ratliff, you got Mutombo, you got Aaron McKee, who was the sixth man of the year, but he was a defensive player as well. Eric Snow was a defensive player.
All due respect to Larry Brown, it's like they made the team too defensive. They should have went and got another goddamn scorer. Period.
I agree.
They traded Theo Ratliff for Dikembe Mutombo. First of all, when they traded Theo Ratliff for Dikembe Mutombo, I remember this, Mike, because Dikembe was in Atlanta.
And we got Theo, yep.
First of all, Theo was leading the league in block shots at the time, averaging over 4 block shots a game. The last person that I think was doing that during the season was Akeem. So Theo Ratliff was fine for Philadelphia and was younger and was more agile. They were thinking about Shaq. They were like, we might go to the finals. We might have to play Shaq. So let's go get Dikembe. That's fine, but you lost a few things when you lost Theo because you know what I mean? Like you lost some youth, you lost some legs, you lost some agility, you lost some developing talent. You know what I'm saying?
Mad Max of the Super Chat says AI had Stack, and ran him off. I forgot he had Stackhouse. He did. AI had Stackhouse and ran him off. Coop, stop saying that Zeke had players. He actually sacrificed to make the players better.
No, he was always a 21, 22 point per game scorer in college, and he did the same thing in the pros. That was the way he always played basketball, regardless who he played with. Told you he averaged 21 points and 14 assists one season. He didn't give up any of his shot to give them 14 assists out, Mike.
Mad Max in the super chat also says, bro, the TikTok has like 4 parts of nothing but hits for R. Kelly wrote for others, including the Isley Brothers. MJ, sorry. He's right there with MJ.
No, he's not. You're lying. The records just aren't as big. Outside of I Believe I Can Fly, what record is as big?
Mad Max also says, and I had like 5 graduations to believe I could fly. Kels is top 2, and Mike is my pops. Always played Bob Marley. He said, Mike, my pops always played Bob Marley, but missing much. But you ain't missing much. I shot the sheriff out.
Man, Max, be quiet. Get off my lawn.
Melvin Wright with the
definitely
super
not
chat.
top 2, Mike. He's not even top 5. And he's a nasty bastard, so.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says Dikembe was Defensive Player of the Year. Larry Brown played a big part of the Sixers. He was also Coach of the Year that year also. Going to the finals.
Can I ask you something, Mike?
Let me finish the super chat real quick. It says the East has always been inferior to the West overall. And it's funny how Brown came TLT. He D and won with Chauncey. How he came to the D and won with Chauncey in Detroit.
Look at that team.
Oh, that was a team that won by committee.
Because they had a committee.
I saw that team play here in Atlanta, man. Looking at them live, that was a good team. They were fast. Like, the defense was insane. They had a system. And, yeah, that's one of the better teams that I've seen. I feel like right now, for the NBA to shift, they need a team like that Detroit Pistons team right now. Like that Wallace team. We need a team like that right now in the NBA. That's not out here putting up 120 points a game, but really locking down on defense and winning by committee. But what were you going to ask me before I finished reading that super chat?
I was going to ask you, how many players do you think have averaged 14 assists in a season, Mike?
It's not a lot. I would say in my guesstimation about 5 or 6.
Not even, Mike.
Okay.
In the modern NBA, it's just John Stockton and Isaiah Thomas.
Okay.
Now, John Stockton had Karl Malone, but don't make it seem like there weren't a bunch of scorers on that Detroit team. You feel what I'm saying? You don't average 14 assists a game without having people around you who can score the damn ball.
Yeah, they had capable athletes.
And before they had Mark Aguirre, they had Adrian Dantley, who literally, Mike, I think is still a top 10-ish scorer all time. AD in his prime, the first AD averaged like 27, 28, and even won a scoring title, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
he didn't play with regular dudes.
He was very Durant-ish.
Yeah, Adrian Dantley was very Durant-ish, yes.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, Mike, you mean to tell me that you riding around the Ye's Donda, his Christian albums, Pablo. Honestly, man, the song Praise God on Donda, I was listening to that the other day. Hard. He said, no, Mike, you know you haven't listened to Kanye since Watch the Throne. Nah, I listen to Pablo all the time. 30 hours. I
don't know why, Mike. Why would you do that to you? Mike, why would you do that to
30
yourself?
hours, famous, no parties in L.A., the record where he's talking about Adidas and Nike, or the Nike disc record.
I don't even know the name of the record.
No, it's slipping me at the moment. It's
not that good.
The story of my life. I don't want to start singing it and get a copyright strike. But you know what I'm talking about. What's it called?
We already said Kanye. What you mean? We like on strike 15. What do you mean?
Nah, that record's hard.
We're not getting paid. We're not getting paid for this. We said Kanye like 5 times. They're like,
oh yeah, we can't say that. Facts. That's the name of the record. But yeah, You hear that Hit Boy album? I know you say you got a bunch of notes. And get to this new Music Friday stuff.
You want the Hit Boy?
Praise God is fire. Thank you.
Hold on, we doing the Praise God is fire. I agree. We doing the 101, Razors 101, Lloyd Banks Meth, or are we doing hit album?
Okay, let's start off with the single, and then we can go.
I think we should go single, then album.
Yeah, we'll go into the single first. Lloyd Banks dropped a single today, featuring Method Man. People are going crazy about it. What say you, Coop?
I say they call him Method Man because he is the man of many methods. Now, I believe I pulled up one here just a couple days ago talking about when people talk about all these entendres and these literary devices, they always go straight to J and they skip right over meth. How much more evidence would you like the man to provide you with?
We need the individual stuff. That's that.
Hold on.
And he put out a dope album last year. I knew you were about to say that. Pause. No, pause right there, Mike. Mm-hmm.
Imagine if Jay would have dropped a quality album like Meth did last year, how people would react. Because Meth's album that he just dropped is better than anything that Jay has done in the past damn decade. And it literally just got glossed over like it was nothing.
You're right.
He incorporates the same literary devices. He actually keeps it more core in the fundamental of hip-hop than Jay does. He actually dropped a dope project last year, and he still does verses like this. Mike, he's been doing this since Lemon.
Yes. Lemon was what, 2020?
Literally, it's 3 straight years of him doing this, like showing his ass every time he shows up. And, what more evidence did you need? Did you not just hear him a couple days ago on the Unpredictable record? Who's closing up the record?
MET.
Who's closing up this record?
No, you're right.
Oh, Method Man, Mike, because he's the man. Many methods to his styles. That's what he said on Enter the Wu-Tang.
Why do you think people didn't embrace last year's album like that?
Because it's Method Man.
Think it's a production thing?
No, I think it's one of those things is that, well,
because I thought
as much as everybody, as much as everybody keeps wanting him to make a classic album, because of who he is, unless he makes a classic album, we act like he's not out here killing shit and making good material. That album was really, really good and deserved more notoriety than it got.
I agree.
And so what I'm saying is his legend is his legend, but his catalog is now officially being held against him by us. Like, we're kind of holding him hostage a little bit, not showing him the love that he deserved. Because think about if Jay would have made that album.
Where do you think this comes from, though? Let's peel back this whole onion of, Method Man and not getting the proper notoriety. Because it feels like it's almost like one of those Nas is a bad beat picker type of things where Method Man doesn't have a classic album, and it seems that this is held against him in a way that it's not really held against a Jadakiss or something. Like, where do you think this whole thing with Method Man's, the standards that people set for Method Man comes from?
I think it's because of all those early 90s stars that kind of changed hip-hop. His catalog, not that his catalog is weak, but compared to those guys. Because you got to look at who his contemporaries are in 93 and 94.
Think him being on Ready to Die, being the only feature on Ready to Die, you think that really hurts and kind of pairs him up with somebody like Biggie?
No, there's nothing wrong with Biggie. First of all, when you rapping with Biggie to a draw, you know what I'm saying? Like, that says a lot about who you are. When you're the only guest rap appearance on Ready to Die, that already says a lot about who you are. So it's not about that. It's like, no, go look at his contemporaries and what his contemporaries have done and who they are. Look at who Snoop is. Look at Doggy Style. Look at who Big is. Look at Ready to Die, Life After Death. Look at who Nas is. Look at Illmatic. Look at It Was Written. Look at Different. Look at all this other shit in the middle. Look at Tupac. Mm-hmm. Look at Me Against the World and All Eyes on Me and Machiavelli. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Look at those guys. That's it. You understand that is his peer group, and rightfully so. So when we are talking about him, it's like, no, Mike, you and I were around for that. Mm-hmm. He was definitely in the grouping and being compared to and with those guys, and rightfully so.
This is what I remember about being in middle school and high school and being a huge Method Man fan. And Method Man was my first favorite rapper, I would say. I remember when Nas and Pac and Big and Jay even were making what they were making. And it's kind of like, what we're talking about with the Wayne thing. The range of topics or lack thereof wasn't with where his contemporaries were, who we knew he had a similar skill level with. You know what I mean? Like and then when somebody
I like that comparison. Okay, so
yeah,
here's
and so
what
it's like when
though.
and then in '98 when somebody like DMX comes through and is able to make something like How's It Going Down and make something like I Can Feel It in some of the deeper records and showing that range and versatility from a content standpoint, then it makes you feel like, okay, well, why is Method Man better than him even? You know what I mean?
No, I get you. And that's very, very valid. And if you want to hold that against him, granted. But that's about it. Like, let's go to somebody like Wayne. And I say this respectfully. It's like, has Wayne had a career that's better than Method Man and made bigger songs? Well, better songs, I'd say over the duration, well, yeah. But it's like, I don't even know if Wayne would beat Method Man in a versus because Method Man is a very, very...
He would not.
It's a very, very... That's what I'm saying, Mike. So think about a guy that doesn't have a classic album, but you don't think Wayne would beat him in a versus. That's how special that guy is. People acting like he's not special. Because if you run it down, lyrically, he's better than most of these guys. Flow-wise, delivery-wise, better than most of these guys. Voice-wise, better than almost all the... Mike, the guys that are better than him vocally are dead, in my opinion.
And the longevity, too. He has a lot. He has that over many of his contemporaries.
Mike, hook writing ability.
Performing the hook, too. And performing, period.
And live performance. That's what I'm saying. So it's like when you're talking about him and people are like, oh, y'all have Meth too high. It's like, you understand the only thing he doesn't have is an all-time great album. And this is what I really realized today. It's like, no, he might be the best feature artist ever because it's like, what do you need from your feature? Do you want a hook? He got you. You want a grimy verse? He got you. You want a superstar verse? He got you. You want a hit record? He got you. What do you want? What do you want?
I mean, think about when Limp Bizkit even went to him.
He's Method Man.
Think about when Limp Bizkit even went to him for All In Together Now, produced by DJ Premier. He killed that shit, and it was a hit.
His name is Method Man. Many methods.
Let me get to the super chats real quick. Eric Terrell says, he said, I'm MJ. James Brown to Prince. Okay. Number 1, MJ. Number 2, James Brown. Prince is 3, Sade 4, Pac, and Stevie. Okay.
I like Sade and the James Brown. I'm a big Sade fan. That's a personal favorite of mine. Like Sade's in my top 5.
Esquire with the super chat says, only 2 of the NBA's 50 greatest players, 1997 list, never played with one another. 50 greatest players, Zeke and Patrick Ewing. Zeke was a winner. I love Patrick Ewing, man, but Patrick Ewing had his opportunities, man, and they squandered that finals in 94. When they had Houston up and they were going back to New York to close things out, that was their opportunity. It was.
No, that's where Akeem became a top 10 player and Patrick Ewing became a top 30 player, Mike. That's what happened.
Matt Max with the super chat says, 1 MJ, 2 Kales. I don't care how much of a perv that he is. He the GOAT. Wow. Jay Short with the super chat says, what hurt Wayne is that he really couldn't pull off those first 3 albums. And imagine Biggie, Pac, Nas, or any of the greats being third billing in a group. Ooh. That is factual, In the Hot Boys, he is number 3. That's factual.
No, that's factual. That's actual.
Yeah. Eric Terrell Super Chat says, Meth is Robert Ory. He helps you win the title. Okay.
He helps you win the title. Are you smoking crack cocaine?
Andre Shashir with the Super Chat says, I think Meth's album got overlooked because it was more like a compilation album, in my opinion, because of all of those features. I like it, though. I feel like and me in particular, because again, I'm very strict and difficult on my favorite artists, and I think Method Man might have been the first example of that. Looking back on it, maybe we were too tough on Method Man. I think where he got marginalized was within the group, right? 36 Chambers, classic. People expected that level of intensity on to count. And then when that didn't happen, it's like, okay, well, we got I'll be there for you and bring the pain. But then you get the dirty version. Then you get Liquid Swords, and then you get the purple tape. And then this makes Method Man look like, okay, well, you dropped the ball. And then Iron Man, right? And then we didn't get Method Man again until 98. And then when he came with 98, I mean, it was a whole different sound now.
Well, he was a superstar by then, too.
He was a superstar from the jump.
Real soon.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, cool, Meth will put 10 entendres in one song, but Jay will put it in a calculated 3, and it hits much harder in context with the whole song quality.
I don't agree with that stance. It's because I hate to say it, it's like one guy is doing it for himself, the other guy is doing it for hip hop. One guy is doing it because he knows that you want to hear his perspective, so he is finding a clever way to offer the perspective. The other guy's doing it on some rap shit and doing it all the time on some rap shit.
Okay.
You feel me?
So you think that Meth's entendres are on Jay-Z's level?
Yes. They always
What examples do you have of that?
The verse today. Like, is that verse this is what I'm saying. That verse today and the verse on the Unpredictable, those are better than anything Jay is doing right now. But if he drops a verse with any entendres, we act like it's glory be to God.
Give me an entendre that you think would even match with the I Jack, I Rob, I Sin. No, man, I'm Jackie Robinson, except when I run base, I dodge the pin.
When did he do that?
Now, I feel you, but I'm just saying, give Mike, me some entendres that match that.
When did he do that?
That was like 2000, what? Damn, that might be like 2011 or something now.
So in order for you to make a point for Jay-Z, you have to go back to 2011.
Well,
so
that was just the first entendre.
I think we should both say less and move forward, because if you got to go to 2011 to give me an entendre that's going to win this argument in Jay's favor,
well, just give me one that's at that level. Because I was going to go, what was it?
Mike, like I said, how about this? Mike, this is what I'm saying about how consistent he's been. You can go pick any Method Man verse from the Lemon verse to now, and it's better than the shit Jay putting down. You got to go to 2011. Like, you got to go 10 years back to compete with Meth Street verses right now. So that means it's not a conversation.
I'm just trying to find the entendres that are at Jay-Z level, because I think Jay is number one when it comes to
No. See, but that's what I'm saying. But you're saying that from a 2011 perspective. You don't have any evidence current to say that.
Well, I'm asking for the Method Man evidence to match.
And like
that.
I just said, I said pick a verse. And like I said, Mike, I kept it current. I said you can pick a verse from 2020 to 2023. I said, Mike, Google it right now, pull it up, listen to it right now live, and I'll tell you that's the verse. I don't need to hear it.
But I want you to give me the example, because you said that he's on Jay's level.
How about this, Mike?
So you must have heard something to make you feel
No,
like
Mike,
that.
give me the recent Jay-Z example, since you want to pull that card.
Why we got to make it about that? You said he's on his level, entendre-wise.
Right.
I just want to know what you heard.
Mike, so if I'm making the statement, Mike, so if I'm making the statement, you need to be the one refuting it.
No. You must have heard something to make you feel that way, and I'm just asking, what did you hear?
I've been hearing it for the last 3 years.
So you don't have an example.
But Mike, you give me a Jay-Z verse from the last 3 years that you would go to and say, this man is the king of entendres. Your court.
I mean, we could go to the neck and wrist verse, actually.
Go ahead, Mike. Spit it out. Let's hear it.
Also, now I got to spit, but you can't spit anything from Meth, huh?
But that's what I'm saying, Mike. You asking me to do something that you really don't want to do. Why is that?
No. I just spit something that came to my head. You know what I'm saying?
Give it to me, Mike.
We already know what the phase on love double
Right,
entendre
Mike.
was.
It's not that good, Mike. You know it's
Oh
not
my
that
god!
good. That's why you
But
don't want to spit
you
it
still
out.
haven't given me anything.
Mike, I told you, pick a verse. I've
You
literally told
pick
you
the
to pick a
verse.
Method Man verse. No, no,
Let me
no.
get to
You
the
pick a
super
verse. You're
chat.
asking the questions, Mike. You a hip hop head too. You pick a Method Man verse. We'll pull it up. We'll break down the entendres live.
I
That's what I'm
mean,
telling you.
go Lemon.
Let's pull up Lemon.
The L Dub Web with the super chat says, "Y'all remember that Method Man joint on the Batman Forever soundtrack? Fire." I do remember it vaguely. I remember it being kind of forgettable, but I need to go back and check it out. Maybe it was the Riddler, right? Something like that. Jay Short with the super chat says, "Sly and the Family Stone or Isley Brothers, Coop. Different types of music, but." Man, Sly's a funky dude. I'm still going Odyssey Brothers, though. JY with the super chat says, rank Meth's top 3 albums, including Blackout.
Mike loves Blackout. Blackout's not that
I do
great.
love Blackout, personally.
It's not a Method Man album either.
It's not. The L Web with the super chat says, Jay doesn't have a How High or an I'll Be There For You. Method Man's always been dope. But
Mike
if we want to go there,
Man's
Method Man doesn't have a reasonable doubt.
I said Mike knows Method Man has always been dope. That's why I don't know. That's why I don't know why you're.
No, you know me, man. I'm trying to nitpick on some of the greats. I mean, Method Man is one of my favorites, and the work that he did in that time period is why he is.
Ain't gotta tell you I'm dope. Just stick the needle in. The goose is off-white, big enough to fit this eagle in. 'Tis the season then. Why ask why? I have my reasons, and my birds don't need no seasons. And meth ODing this evening. That's 4 bars, Mike. There's nothing but entendres in those bars. It's not even the whole verse. You can go pick stuff out from the board verses, and it's there. I'm gonna say it again.
Say it again.
Ain't gotta tell you I'm dope, Mike. You see how he sews up the first entendre until he doesn't do it until the 4th entendre. He says, ain't gotta tell you I'm dope. Just stick the needle in. But he doesn't sew it up until the 4th. Meth ODing this evening. The goose is off-white, big enough to fit this eagle in. Goose, eagle, see it? 'Tis the season then. Why ask why? I has my reasons. My birds don't need no seasons. Hold on, goose, eagle, birds, ODing? Hold on, could those be entendres stacked in 3 or 4 bars just like Jay-Z? And when you ask me to pull up the verse, I can literally highlight it for you at the drop of a dime because this man does it all the time? Could that be what I'm talking about?
Well, let me read the verse that I'm talking about. The phase I'm on...
Hold on, from 2011, or are you reading Neck and Wrist?
Oh, this is Neck and Wrist.
Okay.
This is last year. The phase I'm on...
There's more entendres in here, you know that, right?
Huh?
There's more entendres in here, you know, right?
I thought you were done. You can keep going.
No, there's more, but we can go like back and forth, Mike, and see who has like more entendres.
I don't even know if it's the more, it's the quality. Like Leroy said, it's the better. The phase
but that's
I'm
what
on,
I'm saying. So show me where Jay-Z does an entendre on bar number 1 and then can contextualize it in bar number 4 while keeping it concurrent, while stacking 2 other entendres in between. Because that's what I just read out to you, or maybe you missed it. Maybe the people missing it.
Well, let me go ahead and read this if I may.
Phase I'm on love.
Yeah, the phase I'm on love. I wouldn't believe it either. I'd be like, Jay-Z's a cheater. I wouldn't listen to Reason either. I mean, that alone. Come on.
Okay, where are the entendres other than the phase I'm on love? I wouldn't believe it.
No, I wouldn't listen to Reason either. Like Reasonable Doubt. Or I wouldn't listen to Actual Reason.
And you think that's better than the goose is off-white, big enough to fit this eagle in? 'Tis the season in. Why ask why? I has my reason in. My birds don't need no seasoning. Like that's 3 entendres in 2 bars, but you giving him one.
But no. Let me finish.
You're part of the problem.
We're still going. You're not letting me finish. All I know.
You're gonna spit more of the verse out. Oh my god.
Yeah. All I know is he's a felon. How is he selling? We and the Calvino brothers, deep down, I believe you love us. Yeah, man. Feast your eyes. The piece is unique. It's
Mike,
sapphire.
what is he saying, Mike?
What do you mean? What is he saying? He's building this whole story. The fact that people envy this individual. Yeah.
Feast your eyes on what? Feast your eyes on what, Mike?
On this piece, unique. It's sapphire.
So he talking about some jewelry again. What story is he telling, Mike? I thought you just told me he was telling me a story. He's saying, look at his diamonds.
Let me finish.
What a shock. Jay-Z is telling us to look at his jewelry, Mike. What a shock.
No, it's deeper than that, because he says rappers are liars. I don't do satire. Like, this whole thing is built on, you know what I'm saying, like the comedian that said what he said.
Satires.
Huh?
You draw, better be Picasso. You know the best.
Neither.
I know
my wrist moves mockingly. But again, he put those things in there because this song is called Neck and Wrist. I mean,
those aren't entendres though, Mike.
Y'all spend real money on fake watches. Shockingly.
Those aren't entendres though, Mike. What Meth did was entendres. That's not entendres.
Oh, okay, so break down what Meth did on his entendres, because maybe I'm missing it. I mean, because to me, I think the phase I'm on, Love, I wouldn't believe it either. I'd be like, Jay-Z's a cheater.
He's a cheater. I wouldn't listen to Reason either. Entendre over. That's what I'm saying. That whole Feast Your Eyes, the piece, none of that is entendres, Mike. That's
yeah. No. The whole thing with the Reason either is, that's a double.
That's what I said. No. I would say Jay-Z's a cheater. I wouldn't listen to Reason either. Entendre over right there.
Okay.
Everything after that is just...
That's fine. Break down what you just read with Meth, because maybe I'm missing it.
I had already taken it down. Hold on 1 second. I got to pull it back up.
All right. Mad Max with the Super Chat says, the problem is that Meth isn't taken seriously because he's viewed as a class clown type rapper. Same as Busta, Redman, etc. And Meth don't have Hove. He said Meth don't have Hove level entendres. Stop it.
Okay. Listen to what he's saying.
Go ahead.
We creaming. Hold on. Ain't got to tell you I'm dope. Just stick the needle in. The goose is off-white, big enough to fit this eagle in. 'Tis the season then. Why ask why? I has my reasons, and my birds don't need no season. And Meth OD in this evening. That's 2 entendres and 4 bars.
Where?
Now tell me, Mike. I know, Mike.
Where?
You're a writer. Mike, let me finish talking. You're a writer. You're an MC. You're a hip-hop fan. Tell me that you do not understand those 2 entendres and those 4 bars.
Explain
Tell me what part of that you don't understand.
Where the entendres are.
Okay, Mike. Okay, Mike, define an entendre. What would you like that to be?
I mean, I think this, I wouldn't listen to Reason either is a example.
I wouldn't even listen to Reason either. He could be talking about his own perspective. You don't know if he's talking about reasonable doubt?
He is. Because
how do you know?
No, it's both, because he's talking about I wouldn't believe it either. I'd be like, Jay-Z's a cheater. I wouldn't listen to Reason either. So he's saying I wouldn't listen to Reason or I wouldn't listen to Reasonable Doubt. Either one of them fits. Now, even if he did that by accident, it's still there. Now, give me how what you said. Now, those are dope rhyme schemes. Let me finish. Those are dope rhyme schemes that Method Man did, but tell me how those things fit in those 2 different ways that I wouldn't listen to Reason either would.
When he's saying, ain't got to tell you I'm dope, just stick the needle in, and on the 4th bar where it rhymes, he says Meth ODing this evening. That's an entendre, Mike. That's what it means to give a definition to something and then stack it with a different meaning. You just did the same thing. It's just on some, that's what I'm saying, Mike, because it's on some rap shit and it's not personal, people act like it's not the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just not personalized. It's rap lyrics. It's really a harder form of style of writing. He's not pulling it from a personal place. He's pulling it from a writer's place in space.
Okay, so you're saying that he's using meth as in like the drug meth?
Ain't got to tell you I'm dope. Just stick the needle in.
Right.
Meth ODing this evening. What's his name?
Yeah, Method Man. I mean, I love Meth, and I've heard him.
I'm sorry, Mike. What's his name again?
No. He's done the meth.
Make people OD.
He's done the
meth. Did he tell you 4 bars before? Did he say Mike?
A million times.
I'm just asking you some questions. Did he say 3 bars before? Ain't got to tell you I'm dope, just stick the needle in and then end it 3 bars later saying meth ODing this evening. And you don't think that's an entendre?
I mean, I could see it's kind of a stretch, but I feel you. I mean, it's there. I don't think it's as good of an entendre as this one, though. I don't.
Mike, you want to know how I know
and
your
maybe
mind?
because I've heard him say this before.
Mike, we did a show where we talked about the neck and wrist verse, and you didn't say any of this about the verse. Why?
I mean, no, because I think that people were making it a bigger deal than what it was.
Because it wasn't that much. Because the entendres wasn't like that. Mike.
I do remember saying this.
Seem like the entendres was to win your argument, and it's
I do remember saying this. I said that Jay is number one when it comes to double entendres.
And I'm trying to tell you is it's like, well, no, there's somebody else out there existing, actually doing the verses currently, actually on some rap shit. And it's meth. That's all I'm saying. I didn't even say he was greater than Jay. I'm just saying that when y'all talk about entendres, y'all act like meth is not out here spitting entendres out in almost every single verse he does the last 3 years. That's all I'm saying. So it just kind of seems kind of funny to me how people who claim to be hip-hop heads can listen to this man rap and then be like, man, you know, Jay-Z is the king of entendres. It's like, okay, have you heard Method Man rap the last 3 years?
No, Meth's
like just the last 3 years.
Gary Pierce with the super chat says, Meth is judged like Nas and held to a higher standard than and heavily critiqued. Jay is praised like he took care of people's family or something. Jay is overrated. Whoa. Oh, hold on. Let me see what Leroy Green has to say real quick. Leroy Green with the super chat.
Leroy.
He says, Coop, go to the one Jay-Z concert and 100 quotable entendres will be said by everybody in the audience. And that's from back in the day. To God did.
Listen to what I'm trying to say. A double entendre is a figure of speech or a particular way of wording that is devised to have a double meaning, of which one is typically obvious, whereas the other often conveys a message that would be too socially awkward, sexually suggestive, or offensive to state directly. When Meth talks and puts his stuff together, he usually contextualizes it to some sort of drug, to some sort of crime.
Yeah.
Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right.
So I'm going to repeat the definition again, and y'all gonna give Meth some respect. A figure of speech, it's the last part that's important for people that don't understand English. Figure of speech or a particular way of wording that is devised to have a double meaning, but it doesn't stop there, Mike. It says comma. See, most people think double entendre just means double meaning, and that's just not true. It means of which one is typically obvious, as in one part of it is apparent, but the other part often conveys a message. And this is the whole point of a double entendre, because the second part of the message is usually nefarious, socially awkward, sexually suggestive, or offensive to state directly. Jay, don't be using double entendres for the sake of the actual meaning. He does it for personal purposes, which goes back to what I was saying when I'm saying Meth's doing it on some rap shit. As a writer, he is doing it with the intent of how the definition is meant. What Jay-Z is doing is a spin-off of it, because it's not suggesting anything socially awkward. There's nothing socially awkward about Faison Love saying that he doesn't believe Jay-Z sold dope. Now, is there? But y'all think it is.
I think, you know what? I think by definition, it is something socially awkward, quote unquote, or socially unacceptable when he says.
Not when he's made it his moniker. I'm a hustler,
Can
homie.
I finish?
I'm a hustler, homie.
Can I finish?
Yes, you can.
Where he says, I wouldn't listen to Reasonable Doubt either. Like, that's suggesting that, you shouldn't listen to that. So, yeah. I think it does fit the definition.
That's not, but hold on. What I'm saying is when he's spitting the bar, Mike, Reasonable Doubt is no longer socially awkward. It was socially awkward in 1996 when he dropped it. When I told you, it's like, oh no, niggas that talk like that get indicted around my way.
I still think it is.
No, Mike, it's not 96. Reasonable Doubt's not socially awkward in 1996. He built a whole brand and empire off his hustler name and image. How can you say that? He literally is on Cheesy Dope Boy Go Crazy. The corporate guys hate it when I talk like this. Come on, stop that.
Yeah.
So it's not socially awkward at the point that he is literally transferred into corporations and become a corporation unto himself. It's not socially awkward. He's part of the machine.
He had to do a lot of work to remove himself from that reasonable
That
doubt
don't
image.
mean, Mike, and he did the work, and that's why it's not socially awkward, which means it really doesn't fit into the term under the legal definition of a double entendre like that. There's nothing socially awkward or sexually suggestive or offensive about what he stated.
Let me get to the super chats real quick. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Mike, Coop is moving the goalpost. Yeah, Eric Terrell said, Mike, Coop is moving the goalpost. Yeah.
I just read the definition to you.
36 Chambers
Most people don't know the definition. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a writer.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, breaking down these neck and wrist bars makes it even less good hearing it broken down, Mike. Jay is incredible, but his recent output is not.
It's not, Mike. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not good.
Man, y'all really coming down hard on Jigga, man. Jigga, we need a new album. They talking crazy, man.
Y'all need to know what a double entendre really means, Mike, because I shouldn't have to read it out loud to make my point, but I will.
Mad Max of the super chat says, doesn't an entendre have to make one word with two different meanings? So the meth stuff really ain't true entendres. The phase I'm in love is. The phase I'm in love is.
See, this is what I mean about them not knowing the definitions, though, Mike. You think that it's words. That's why it starts off. A double entendre is a figure of speech, not a grouping of words. Figure of speech, body, multiple words, not just a word or two. You don't know the definition, and thereby you're making an analysis when you don't know what the word and the definition of what a double entendre means. Why don't you learn the definition and then talk about what it is? Figure of speech.
Joe Young with the super chat says, Beats and Rhymes just made their list. Jay is at number 1. Nas is at number 2. I'm glad you guys are doing the list because Nas should be number 1 with KD3 deserving album. Let's see. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, a double entendre is a double meaning rhyme. Like we got different sob stories. Yep, sob, and then the actual sob stories.
That's the best entendre.
Yeah, Bluebird Money, pull up. It was a written testimony bars. Yeah, Bluebird Money was a.
No, those are dope.
Matt Max with the super chat says CNN scheme for Method Man's real entendre.
I didn't bring that up, Mike, because it's not a real entendre. That's why I brought up a figure of speech that he used.
007 with the super chat says, never looked at meth or read at like clowns. Spitters recognize spitters. It's never he raps, but looks at his persona. It's vice versa. Put Meth and Jay on the track and see what happens. Don't be surprised.
First of all, I wouldn't do that to Jay, especially right now. And this is all I'm trying to say. You have to start weighing things for what they were. Like, people are like, okay, so let's say you feel like Jay has better entendres. You know what I'm saying? Hold on 1 second. Mm-hmm. Hold on 1 second. Yo, Six, I'm doing the podcast.
Uncle
Cuz, I can hear you now. I'm doing the show. Are you outside? Is that the BMW outside?
Live TV.
Oh shit, that's what's up. Oh, I thought I heard your car. I'm like, I only know one car that sound that way. Hold on 1 second. Cuz is here. Six is here. Hold
on. Uncle Fran with the super chat says, Mike, you got 2 layers. The third is phase of love, phase of love that I'm in with Beyonce now. He doesn't believe that neither. I mean, Jay was a cheater. Love don't listen to reason. I don't know, Uncle Fran. It might be a slight stretch here. This is what Uncle Fran said. He says, Mike,
this fool pulled up in the German Super BMW with the top down.
Oh, wow.
I know my neighbors is like, I know what they do.
Lord. But yo, check out what Uncle Fran said real quick. He said, Mike, you got 2 layers. You got the third is phase of love that I'm in love with Beyonce now. He doesn't believe that neither. And he said Jay means, Jay was a cheater. Love don't listen to reason.
Now, would y'all do that much digging if it was anybody else?
You got a good point there. 36 Chambers with the super chat says people act like Jay's entendre game is the best in rap, like Black Thought, Most Def, MF Doom, Method Man, Jizza, JID, and others don't have double entendres. Sometimes triple entendres all over the place. What are we doing?
And that's all I'm saying. By inserting method, you see what a problem it is to just even try to slide somebody next to Jay that's not Nas at anything. It's like nobody wants to have it. Mike, you kind of don't want to have it either. You're like, oh, I don't know about that. It's like, no, I've been listening to Meth, like, since I was like, speaking of which, Six is the one that put me, this is the one that had all the tapes and stuff like the Into the Wu-Tang tapes. This is him. He the one that put me on to all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? What up, guys?
36 Chambers says Lupe's entendre circles around Jay as well. Okay, I can see that.
From upstairs.
Mad Max in the super chat says, a figure of speech is a grouping of words, though.
Right, a grouping of words. So Meth groups words together and uses the words with repetition and defines them with different meanings. Even on the Lloyd Banks song, he's using line for different meanings and contextualizing it. Those are entendres too, because it's a figure of speech. So it's not just words. It's a figure of speech, as in groups of words, as in taking the groups of words and flipping them and giving them different meanings that are sexually suggestive and offensive and complicated is an entendre. The man does this all the time.
So what did you think about Meth's verse and the song and,
I think the song is a Song of the Year contender. It's really, really dope, Mike. Didn't you enjoy it?
I liked that. I didn't love the production like that. It was.
So I'm going to say something. It's like having great words over like a bad canvas. It seems like a little bit. The beat should have been better. It made me think about Meth on the Unpredictable Static Selector track. And I was actually thinking to myself, I was like, the Static Selector track's probably the Song of the Year right now. The Unpredictable track, the Wu-Tang track.
I can see that.
That's probably Song of the Year right now.
I would like to see Lloyd Banks get better production. I don't even want to say better. I think the production's good. I guess more of a variety of production. And I think my ears might have been messed up because I was listening to Hit Boy's album before I listened to that. And Hit Boy's productions, it's all over the place and it's dope. And when I say all over the place, I mean it has range. And it feels like Lloyd Banks keeps rhyming over the same type of production for these, last couple efforts.
Look in the cabinet on the fridge, like down to the right-hand side. Yeah. My bad. No, I'm listening to you.
But yeah, what say you? I mean, I feel like Lloyd Banks keeps choosing like the same type of production for these last couple of efforts.
I mean,
it's like I think the beats can be a lot better.
I think inflation is a motherfucker too, Mike. I think like beats be high. Like, we want our artists to do a lot of things. And it's like, we look at artists and how they live. It's like, you are kind of like what you've made and what you've kind of like spent. And it's like, so you have to understand is like, well, Lloyd Banks probably ain't trying to pay $300,000 for a track, like respectively.
Is that what producers are doing now? Dang.
That's what I'm saying, Mike. This is you gotta think about what dudes was charging when we was coming up, Mike. Where it was like it's like no, I'm charging 100, 150, 200 for a beat, Mike. That was like when we was in the early 2000s. It's 2023.
But that's when beats actually made money, and you know what I mean. Like, and record sales were there. You had points on albums and all of that. So it's like you can actually warrant a asking price like that because this single could actually sell your record. You know what I mean? So now, without those things in line, I thought that the prices went down. Just like for video directors.
Video director price done went down, Mike. But it's like, even, how about this? Let's say Lloyd Banks wanted to get a beat from Hit, who we about to talk about. How much you think that's going to run in to get like a 5-pack from Hit? And you think he's trying to run up the budget like that? Because this is what I mean, and this is what I keep talking about the streams. And with Nas, it's like, okay, so what you think happened in the Banks? If this happened in the Nas, what you think happened in the Banks?
Well, I
Because
think
Nas
the
is
other
Nas, so
thing.
Nas can pay and afford to work with Hit like that. You feel what I'm saying? Because he's Nas.
Well, see, I think the other thing though, it's like you don't have to just go to super producers and all-time great producers to get great production. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of legendary producers who aren't doing a lot of work right now that would love to, come together for something. Shit, we've seen Sky Zoo and Pete Rock come together and do an effort. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard for me to believe that Lloyd Banks can't, get that kind of
Hold
collaboration
on.
going on,
Skyzoo and Pete
or
Rock?
just even find somebody new.
Hold on, Skyzoo and Pete Rock?
Yeah, they did an album together a couple years back.
Oh, you mean Dizza? Not the Dizza Pete Rock joint. The
They
Skyzoo
did.
and
They
Pete
did
Rock?
one too. Yeah,
I like the Don't Smoke Rock.
yeah. Well, I'm saying like you look at Smoke DZA doing a project with Pete Rock. I mean, why can't Lloyd Banks get in that? That's what I'm saying. Like,
You know what, Mike? You actually make a valid assertion when you say that, because I think Banks has enough name and respect and weight in the game that he can pull up on a Pete Rock or an Alchemist, and you know what I'm saying?
yeah, he's Lloyd Banks. The
Yeah,
internet
he's
would go
Lloyd Banks.
crazy for that because at the end of the day, Lloyd Banks is one of those guys that's dope, but he has a fan base from, like you said, that movement
That G
that was
Unit.
gigantic, and those people
Yeah.
are gonna be fans forever. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I just I don't know if he's not digging enough for the production, but I would like to see a production change.
I can hear you on that. And sometimes I think, I think it's a comfort zone and a space for him too, where he's gotten used to picking, you know what I'm saying, people that he's comfortable with.
Yeah, but I think for the listener that can, after 5 or 6 tracks or so, that can be boring. Like,
No, I feel like that's what's happened with the last two projects, Mike. And quite frankly, it's like it starts off with great momentum, but then it kind of like subsides. But that's what I mean. Okay, so is that more about his voice or is that more about the production?
I didn't really, well, I didn't really
Because he
notice
doesn't have
those
the best
things.
voice. So sometimes I think when you're wanting better production out of him, I think you're wanting to hear more excitement or more energy. But like, Banks is more monotone than Guru.
Is
You know what I'm saying?
Do you think Banks is a solo artist then? Do
I
you
didn't
think that
think
he
so until
sounds better in a group setting or by himself?
I think he's better in a group setting because what he does lyrically kind of like shines more. But I think with the course of the inevitable, he proved himself to be a quality song maker. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
I didn't know the true solo artist and album maker he was even to a few years ago, Mike, when he came back. So do I think he's that? Yes. Do I think there's levels to it? Yes. What is his level? It's like, I don't want to say it's like, when somebody calls somebody a B-list actor, it's like a bad thing. But I don't know if rap, that's a bad thing. So it's like, I don't think he's part of the A team, but I think he's, a great B plus list rapper. He has A1 skills, but in terms of the total package, he would fall more into the B side of things.
You put him where Fabulous, and maybe
you
like
need to get out my head. Fab was coming to my mind.
Joe Budden, maybe.
And I'm gonna tell you the truth. It's like I like Budden more than I like both of those guys.
I was just about to say I would pick Budden over Banks, honestly.
I would take Budden over a lot of guys actually like active when he was like rapping and into it. You know what I'm saying? Budden was dope.
Jay Short.
The only thing Budden was missing was hit records. Budden has spit game and mixtapes and verses, and you know what I'm saying?
Oh, Budden got a hit record.
I said records.
Pump, 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 pump it up. Great record.
You got jokes.
I like Pump It Up. No, I don't have jokes.
You like Pump It Up?
I like Pump It Up. What's not to like about it?
Yourself.
What's not to like about Pump It Up? Pump It Up is hard.
The fact that it go pump, 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 pump it up. That's
hey, man, that's classic. That's from the Pump It Up show back in the day.
I never liked the show.
That's classic hip hop stuff.
What was the B side? You remember the B side? That's the shit that I like. What was the other shit?
You talking about the record with Busta Rhymes?
Yeah.
Nah, I like Pump It Up better. That beat was crazy, man.
I like the drop on the beat. Even after the beat started looping, I was just like, yeah, I'm cool.
Pump it up if you came to get it on, came to get it wrong. Yeah, he was flowing on it.
No, he's flowing on there. Just it's a little too happy for me. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah, listen, girl, you is like you bad, but your girlfriend's not. Jay Short with the super chat says Banks needs to get out of his Griselda type of vibe. Uh, Cold corner / hunger for more is his lane. Also, I think that Banks is good on the mixtapes because he's better piggybacking off of someone else's ideas. Now, huh? The thing about the whole Griselda vibe, I would like to hear him actually over like Behringer and Conductor, if we were gonna go that route.
I think that's where we meet in the middle on the production thing. If he's doing anything about picking bad production per se, it's like if you're gonna do the grimy street thing, it's like, well, go ahead and do it on 10. He obviously has a relationship with Griselda at this point. It's like, yeah, I'll be reaching out to Conduct. How about this?
Yeah.
How about this? You want to know what I'd like to see? Rock Marciano take on Lloyd Banks' project.
I would like to see that. Like I said, man, Alchemist.
I think Rock could give him, because you know what? Rock has a vibe, and what Lloyd Banks really needs is a vibe. He don't need bars. He need hook work and like rhythm and melody and like something to kind of like throw it off pace. And I think Rock Marciano would provide that.
It's funny, man. 50 was a perfect, combination for him.
You know who he needs to? Like out of the same camp. See, he's somebody. And this is what I mean about Stove. Oh, no. If I was Lloyd Banks as an artist, I would call Stove for a couple records just for some hook work.
I could see that.
To give it some energy, some different vocal inflection, like some high pitch with the monotone. You know what I'm saying? To balance it out.
You watch the BMF show?
I don't watch TV really anymore, if you want to know the truth, Mike.
I got to catch up on a couple things because I'm actually interviewing somebody from that show next week. But saying all that to say, 50 Cent.
We balling, Mike. We balling. You interviewing BMF, motherfucker?
No, not acting.
No, not the real BMF.
Yeah, Hollywood stuff. But no, what I was gonna say though, the theme song that 50 has on that shit is hard. It's like
I haven't even heard it. People
he can
talking about it too.
This man can make records on a dime, and I think even now he could help fill in some of them gaps that I'm hearing in this Lloyd Banks stuff. And I don't want to sound like, the stuff's not dope. It is dope. But it feels incomplete to a certain extent. And when I hear 50 even make theme songs for TV shows, I hear how that void is filled. Like 50 knows how to make complete records. And I hate to say this like this, but that's where he really has an advantage over most New York street rappers. Like he's able to still make street music, but he makes it with a complete song making mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you want to know what I really thought? You want to know what the real verses was, Mike? It actually should have been Locks versus G Unit.
It should have been. That's what it really should have been.
Because Kiss and 50 is more of a showdown.
Yeah, it is.
That's a showdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a showdown.
I agree.
And you want to know what? And you're right, Mike. 50 is one of the better complete song makers that we've ever had because he doesn't need anybody to do the hooks for him. And so even though there's part of me that's always felt like he took Ja Rule style, because he didn't need anybody to do hooks for him the way Ja Rule needed somebody to do hooks for him. And that was kind of like the separating factor even in them.
And he could make full, complete street records where I think Ja was like, it was crossover commercial stuff. And they made
I like Ja street records. No, that was a concentrated effort. If Ja would have made, like Mike, clap back. Oh, no, clap back I agree. Hard, Mike.
Well, what I'm saying is,
Ja want to make a street record, he can. Yes,
I agree with that. But what I'm saying is when Ja went and made the crossover records, his street records suffered, whereas 50s didn't.
I think, and you want to know what, that's what I mean about like how the game will do you, because it's like, well, if DMX and Jay-Z aren't around him, he doesn't even feel the pressure to do either one of those things, and he's Ja Rule, and he probably does both. And you want to know what 50 did? Both. No, I'm going to do the hardcore DMX shit, but I'm going to do the fucking happy pop Jay-Z shit too. He's like, I'm gonna do it both. He's like, and I'm gonna sing all my hooks except for when I call Nate Dogg one time.
Yeah. I mean, 50, when you think about it, and his abilities, matching up with Dre was perfect. And honestly, we didn't look at it like this back then because I know a lot of people are comparing, and, don't flip out when I say this, people, but it's the truth. After the story of 50 getting shot 9 times and this and that and hooking up with Dre, the way they were rolling him out of Interscope was kind of like the next Tupac, when it was really, this was Doggy Style Part 2, really. That's what it was.
How about this? I thought about this today, and it's funny that we're talking about this. If Doggy Style comes out around the time the Get Rich or Die Trying does, and this is not the not Get Rich or Die Trying, but Doggy Style gonna do 20 million, right? Like the way that they promote and buzz that, you see, because what you have to see is, and this is what I mean when I'm saying Snoop is rap's first superstar. The machine as we know it is based off what Snoop did with Doggy Style.
Oh, yeah. The machine is built on Snoop's back.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, the rap machine as we know it, the music money-making rap machine as we know it, is built on the back of Snoop. That's why he's rap's first superstar.
As much as what I think about, who am I?
There is no Get Rich or Die Trying. There is no life after death. There is no, the blueprint plans on you.
Well, you know how I think about, or how I feel about Who Am I, right? And What's My Name, the Snoop Doggy Dogg record. I think it's one of the best singles ever put out, in my personal opinion, from end to end. And Gin and Juice was huge. But I don't think either one of those songs or anything on Doggy Style is in the club huge. I think it was a collective effort from a street level, from a commercial level. But I think in the club, even though, again, Doggy Style built that, foundation, I still think In the Club is, it's a record that will get you to 10 million. I'll put it that way.
See, that's... I don't know where you were or how you feel about it, Mike, but this is why I keep saying this live on the show. No, there ain't. Gin and Juice was number one on the rap charts for 6 months. In the Club's not bigger than Gin and Juice.
In the Club's not bigger than Gin and Juice?
I'm going to say this again. This is what I mean about Snoop being rap's first superstar. It was number one on the rap charts for 6 months. Do you know how absurd that is? It's not even realistic to think that a record will come out that'll be that much bigger than the other records for that long anymore. It's never going to happen again. So respectfully, even though I love In the Club, it's like, do you think the beat to In the Club is better than the beat to Gin and Juice?
No, I like Gin and Juice better as a song.
Do you think the rhymes are better?
A bigger record. Hold on 1 second.
Do you think the hook is better?
That's not what we're talking about.
Better than Gin and Juice.
I'm talking about hardcore numbers. No, I agree with that part, but
what I'm trying to say is that Snoop's Gin and Juice in 90, I believe it's dropping in probably February of 94. No, Snoop's Gin and Juice in 94 trumps everybody, Mike, because it trumped everybody when people were titans, like Ice Cube and Tupac and Nas and Big, and Wu-Tang and Tribe was walking around, and Gin and Juice was the thing.
But you said the rap charts, right? In the Club.
I believe so, yeah.
In the Club was the number one song in the country for 9 consecutive weeks.
Yes, that's cool, Mike.
What do you mean that's cool? I think that kind of trumps that.
It's 2 months, Mike. I said 6.
No, but this is number one, period. Not the rap charts. This is period. This is the number one song in the whole country.
Understand, Mike.
All genres.
No, that's what I'm saying. The reason that In the Club is number one on the rap charts for 9 weeks. I mean, on the R&B, it's on the Billboard charts. It's number one for 9 weeks. It's because Gin and Juice exists, Mike. None of this happens without Doggy Style and Gin and Juice. There is no In the Club being number one at nothing. There wasn't nobody in rap being number one at nothing before Doggy Style, Mike.
That's not the argument. The argument is, did it outperform
song, Mike. It's not better beat-wise.
That's not the argument either.
Hook-wise, it's not bigger in the lexicon of this culture. There is no...
I think it
Mike,
is bigger
literally
in the
the blueprint to how, Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think it is bigger in the lexicon of the culture. Now, Gin and Juice is the better record. This is what it says here. Gin and Juice peaked at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100.
In 1994, Mike?
Yeah, that's what I'm reading right here. And that is the same chart that In the Club was number 1 in 9 consecutive weeks. So it peaked at number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, earned the gold certification, sold 700,000 copies. Gin and Juice was nominated for a 1995 Grammy Award for the Best Solo Performance. It's listed number 8 on VH1's 100 Greatest Hip Hop Songs. Okay.
Yeah, right.
In the Club. Let me go through some of the In the Club stuff, right?
No, I get what you're saying. In the Club is going to be bigger, but what I'm saying is that the machine that In the Club is based on, that's Snoop's machine.
Well, I know
created
that.
this machine.
Yeah.
Gin and Juice is the machine. Like, you understand, In the Club is like the updated version of Gin and Juice. It's like, no, it's like, that's why they have him literally in a lab, because they know what they're doing by now. Because Snoop is literally the first test patient. It's like, no, we're going to do the street shit. It's like, now we got the streets. Now we're going to make the hit records. What 50 do? He took the streets, then he made the hit records. This is Snoop's blueprint. So all this love that In the Club is getting is based on a formula Snoop created. And guess what? While he created it, he sold 5 million records and went 6 months number 1 on the rap charts when it wasn't even feasible for us to go number 1 on the R&B and hip hop charts. If I'm not mistaken, I'll Be There For You was the first rap song I can remember going number 1 on the charts, Mike, for as far as a rap song. That's 95.
Number
what
1
rap song is number 1 on the charts before I'll Be There For You?
What are you talking about, the Hot 100?
Yeah, Hot 100.
Let's see.
What's the first rap song to go number 1 on the Hot 100? Because I think it's I'll Be There For You. That's what I mean about Method Man being big.
It's Ice Ice Baby, actually, but you know what's
real rap record. Real rap. 6 over here laughing. Stop it.
No, I mean that's just the factual. Let's see. Let me see what the second rap record is then.
You said Ice Ice Baby.
I mean that's what it is.
You know, Mike. You know. Come on, Mike. You know that's not the.
I think the second one is. I think I'll Be Missing You, Puff Daddy.
I'll Be There For You didn't go number 1 on the Billboard charts.
Let's see. I don't think so.
I know it went number 1 on the R&B charts.
Let's see.
Because I mean, I hate to be the one to break it to you. If I'll Be Missing You is the first record that went number 1, like Cuz is right. Cuz like that's the white people record. It's like, yeah, that's Sting and the Police. It's like that's not a rap song.
It peaked at number 3. But again,
I'll Be There For You peaked at number 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the song. It reached number 1 on the R&B charts. But yeah, the Hot 100 it peaked at number 3. But like I said, In the Club, 9 straight
I'll
weeks.
Be Missing You is the first number 1 rap song, really?
I'm gonna have to do some more research, some deeper research, but that's what it's looking like it is. But saying all that to say, In the Club was huge, and I will say this about Snoop Dogg though. Like we said this before, he had to be involved in everything that Dre was doing from a solo end, and
it's an ATL record, Mike. It's Crisscross with Jump. Cuz is right. He just pulled up Crisscross's Jump.
Okay, I mean
it's Crisscross with Jump. No, that's still a rap record.
You consider Crisscross Jump a real rap record? I do, but
are we Atlanta biased?
I mean, I consider it a real.
I don't give a fuck. People be East Coast biased all the time. Jump's number 1. That's actual a rap record, Mike. They actually doing like, no, it's a rap record.
Listen, did we even consider?
You know what's funny? Cuz ain't Trez in the video. Cuz's homie that we grew up with is actually in the video. The skateboarder in the hoodie is Cuz's homie that we used to skateboard with growing up.
Did we consider that record for our top 50 hip hop songs?
When we was on the east side, when we was kids, it was a rap record. I don't know what else to tell you other than that.
Mad Max to the
Our
super
homie
chat
was in the
says,
video. That's what I'm saying. Cuz is sitting right here. His homie who he used to skateboard with is skateboarding in the video. It's like, it's personal. It's like, I'm not going to fucking come off that. Yeah. The dude with the hoodie in the video is Trez. Him and Mario used to skate together when we was kids.
well, that's biased, but I'm just saying, like, do we?
I don't give a fuck.
Mad Max with the super chat says, the machine to push artists is built off of Snoop, but the image of how you want your artist to look and put together albums is LL. Hey, lover, I shot you. Yeah, I can agree with that, man. LL's the real blueprint.
LL just ain't sell 5 million records, so I don't want to hear that superstar talk.
Well, which is it, Coop? I mean, are we gonna glorify the record sales
in
or not?
1994 when niggas are happy going gold. That is called superstar status in rap. When everybody else is happy going gold and you're selling 5 million records, you're a superstar. My name is David Ruffin.
But again,
you are
In the Club is 9 weeks at number one on number one song.
But I'm saying that's built off Snoop bag.
I feel you, but you still got to execute.
He executed Mike Doggy style or Get Rich or Die Trying.
I'm not talking about executing in that way. I'm saying
you want to talk about executing.
50 made the rep. Because let's keep it real. Let's keep it all the way real. And I love Snoop. What I'm saying is I love Snoop, and the infrastructure was built on him. But does he have a record that was number one in the country for 9 weeks? So we can't just disregard what 50 did with that. That doesn't happen all the time.
What I'm trying to tell you, Mike, is when you're a Crip with a murder case and the first song you release is called Deep Cover and it's 1994, you're probably not going to have a number one rap song.
Well, the number one rap song
go number one on the charts. Mike, I'm going to say this again. When you're a Crip with a murder case and the first song that you make is Deep Cover and the hook goes, yeah, and you don't stop, because it's 187 on a motherfucking cop.
You act like
probably
50
not
had
going number one, Mike.
But wait a minute. You act like 50 had a squeaky clean resume or something. Like, no, it wasn't what it was. It was real people. It was real situations out there, and it was real things going on and real activity.
He had Dr. Dre and Eminem in the house that Doggy Style built.
A lot of people had those
big
guys
advantage
too.
In his favor.
I'm telling you, all I'm saying is going number one for 9 consecutive weeks, it's not something that anybody can do.
It's just not better than gin and juice at the end of the day.
You're just
on any level.
You're picking what argument you want to make.
No, it's just not bigger.
It's bigger. It's a bigger.
It's not bigger. It's not more.
How is it not bigger? How are you quantifying it being bigger? I mean, because
when did we start using songs that go number one to qualify? Because if so, Puff Daddy's "I'll Be Missing You" deserves to be on our top 50 at that point. Then
it's the highest selling single of all time. That's just factual. Now, if you want to say that that's a bigger song than most songs, then that's fine.
It's bigger than In the Club, but we ain't picking that shit over In the Club the same way we're not picking Gin and Juice.
Is it bigger than In the Club?
We're not picking In the Club over Gin and Juice. The same way you're not picking I'll Be Missing You over In the Club is the same way we're not picking In the Club over Gin and Juice. What's the difference?
You think it's bigger than In the Club?
What, I'll Be Missing You by Puff Daddy and the Family?
Uh-huh.
What did he sell in 1997?
Hold on, I want to see how this song charted.
7 or 8 million, right?
I want to see how this song charted
versus
since we want to quantify it.
Like 7, 8 years later. I believe in inflation.
Hold on.
I know what inflation.
I don't want to just change. I don't want to just change the argument for whatever
Snoop
song.
5 mil in '94 weighs more than anybody else's shit has ever weighed.
Well, it sounds like your mind's made up on that. Hold on, let me see what I'll Be Missing You did.
Sold 5 million
said
records.
The song debuted at number one on the Hot 100.
And Ice Cube and Tupac together were selling 5 million records that year, like together.
Okay, the song spent a record-breaking 11 weeks at number one at the Hot 100. So yeah, I'll Be Missing You was number one for 11 weeks. Making it the longest running number one hip hop song in history until Eminem's Lose Yourself. It spent 12 weeks at number one in 2002.
Lose Yourself? Is Lose Yourself better than In the Club, Mike?
No.
So you can't use him being on the charts for 9 weeks when you got Lose Yourself and I'll Be Missing You ahead of In the Club.
Well, let me qualify both of these. One, was mourning the death of, one of the greatest MCs of all time. So
with a Sting the Police riff. White people are acquainted with that record.
Let me finish. So that elevated the record. And this other record, You Lose Yourself, the fact that it's the lead record off of a soundtrack and it's Eminem and, he's the highest selling artist at that time, that elevates that record as well. So, but
we're not going to give no points for Snoop selling 5 million records.
I never said that. You know how I feel about
murder
Snoop.
Case pending.
You know how I feel about Snoop. So, I mean, he's one of my personal favorites, and some of those records are my personal favorites, period. But I'm just saying, it's hard to really qualify how Gin and Juice is bigger than In the Club. Is it better than In the Club? Yes, in my opinion. But on paper, I can't tell you that Gin and Juice is a bigger song than In the Club. I don't have the evidence. That would just be opinion at that point.
Let me ask you something, Mike. As hip-hop turns 50, which rap song gets quoted more in this lexicon? Gin and Juice or In the Club?
Gin and Juice, definitely.
Which album is better?
Doggy Style. These are different arguments. These are different arguments.
So, Mike, over here in hip-hop, and you know this, part of why we never measure things by the charts is part about the populist discussion that we just had and how we know that we're never going to get the proper sales and shine that we really deserve. And that's why I'm trying to submit to you. It's like, no, insert Snoop Dogg into the 2003 machine. That 5 million is 20 million. 50 only did 10. I'm trying to tell you that
only? We can't say only with 10
compared to Doggy Style, we can. That's what I'm saying.
Doggy Style ain't do those numbers.
It would have had you put it in those times. If 50 did 10 with Get Rich or Die Trying, Mike, you want to run down the singles? What's My Name or In the Club?
Listen, this is what I'm going to say.
And then Snoop wins the rest.
And you know how I feel about What's My Name. What's My Name is a better song. But which song is a bigger song? If I was sitting there in the studio... No. Listen to me. If I was sitting there in the studio and they're like, which of these songs is going to be bigger? I would say In the Club is going to be bigger. Now, the one that I liked better is the Snoop record. It is what it is. I mean, better doesn't always mean bigger.
Better singles than Snoop. After In the Club, where are the singles better? Gin and Juice is up against what? 21 Questions? Blowout. Doggy Dog World versus
21 Questions was a pretty big record.
Blowout.
Hold on. Since we want to go there, you want to check the performance of what a record like 21 Questions did?
No, Mike.
Because you're going on your personal preference. But
no,
the fact
Mike, I'm asking you as a hip-hop fan who knows rap, who in their right mind is taking 21 Questions over Gin and Juice? Let's line the singles up on Get Rich or Die Trying and Doggy Style.
You're making two different arguments, Coop.
No, you keep going to the charts, Mike. When did we go to the charts to determine our fate?
Coop, this is what...
What did the Low End Theory sell, Mike?
I don't care what the Low End Theory sold, but you know what? Just like with
is it a top 10 rap album,
Of course
Mike?
It is.
You don't give a shit what it sold, so
these
why are you talking about how 50 charted?
Coop, these are two different arguments. You're talking about quality...
Premise, you gotta be fair across the board. You can't say the Low End Theory is a top 10 rap album and it don't matter what it sold and then talk about how 50's charting.
But I never said that made it better. That's where you're missing everything. You're equating what I'm saying, that a record was bigger, meaning it's better. I never said that. All I'm saying is no. Let me rewind.
So you need to put some respect on Eminem's name.
Just because I'm saying that a record is better doesn't mean I'm saying it's bigger either. And just because I'm saying a record is bigger doesn't mean I'm saying it's better than another record. If Ice Baby was just bigger than a bunch of records, Ice Baby is bigger than every record that's on the Low End Theory. Does that make it better? No.
I get that, Mike, but when we talk about Eminem, you always say that shit don't fucking matter, so I need to hear you say it now, because Eminem's records, if we talking about charting, if we're talking about sales, they be bigger than everything, and you tell me that it doesn't matter, and if it doesn't matter when it comes to Eminem, it don't matter when it comes to 50 then.
Well, you know what makes that different, though, is the fact that the stuff that he did that charted and was big actually got played in hip-hop spaces. Whereas the ones that Eminem does, that does great numerically, nobody plays in hip-hop spaces. I thought we covered that
But you
not
can't
last
change,
week, but
Mike. But you
Wednesday.
can't change the fact that them Eminem records got them millions and millions upon
No,
certifications upon them,
of
and
course
it
they
gets
do.
labeled, Mike. And when it gets sent out, and it gets shipped, and when it gets tagged, and when people get downloaded, it doesn't say Eminem pop rock. It says Eminem hip hop.
Does it?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
I've checked, Mike. Go look.
We never used to receive any Eminem records at the radio station I was working at. We didn't.
That was 20 years ago.
I mean, no, but that's when he was in his prime, and we played hip hop records, man. Nobody.
But he's been out charting and outselling everybody since then, including
his stuff
50.
gets sent to pop radio stations.
But Mike,
because
Coop,
like I said in the previous show,
numbers, you start discounting Eminem now.
I'm not gonna discount his numbers. His numbers are what they are, but it's clear that he was being marketed somewhere else. When's the last time you actually heard?
He's being marketed at Interscope with 50. Matter of fact, Eminem is partly responsible.
No. But you know what? 50. But you know what you can do.
Same company, same machine.
Same company, same machine. But you know what, Coop? Anybody could go on YouTube right now, and you could go look up a 50 Cent Funk Flex interview. See if Funk Flex ever interviewed Eminem. See if Eminem ever interviewed.
Not from Southside Jamaica, Queens,
See
Mike.
if Eminem ever interviewed at any hip hop radio station.
Mike,
does he even do interviews at the hip hop station in Detroit? First so all, Mike, he's not. It's not the same.
Hold on. Let's get something straight. If he's not in tune with hip hop radio, what the fuck is Shade 45? And how did he find 50?
That's him creating his own thing because hip hop radio.
His own thing is bigger than everybody else's.
Can I finish? Can I finish? You asked me a question. I want to answer.
45 is bigger than everybody else's thing. You understand?
You asked me a question. I'm trying to answer your question.
I wasn't finished because I have a sway and
finish
tech
asking
question
your
for
question.
you.
I'm trying to give you an answer.
Question for you, Hazen. How did you find out about Eminem? Sway and tech.
That's not how I found. I heard him on that record.
That's black radio. His foundings and his origins are with black radio. Mike, Sway and Tech, Dr. Dre, with the Roots Crew, with Talib, with Sound Bombing. All his origins are black. You know this. We've had this conversation. White people didn't put Eminem on. I keep trying to tell you, Mike. We invited Eminem to the barbecue, not white people.
Who? Hi, my name is.
Mike, not to be funny, but picking any nigga.
But let me finish my thought, though. Shade 45 is his move to actually have some sort of hip-hop radio that will actually support his records because he never got played on any hip-hop radio. He never goes out and does any interviews on hip-hop radio. I don't even think he has a Sway interview. He might have went up there and did the freestyle, quote-unquote, that quote-unquote got him signed, but so much stuff is set up when it comes to his background and his origins. I've never seen an artist have 5 different origin stories. Nobody seems to be able to get the Eminem origin story right. They're all made up, seems like. So I don't know. I don't know what happened, to be perfectly honest. But what I will say is I do feel like Wendy Day's story seems to be the most plausible, where they created that Rap Olympics as an event to showcase him. And then that Rap Olympics that was showcasing him, where Rhyme Fest won, by the way, was the door that got him into the Interscope doors, which happened to be in L.A., where Wendy Day actually bought him a ticket to fly him out to L.A. Guess what else is in L.A.? Interscope, Dr. Dre, and Jimmy Iovine. So that story makes the most sense.
Is so big too? Because 50 signed to Shady Aftermath.
Of course.
Eminem.
Of course.
Snoop didn't need any of that shit to sell 5 million records and have Gin and Juice number 3. You understand that, right?
He had Dr. Dre, though. Let's not act like he didn't have
So did 50, except for he had M.
Yeah, 50 had everything.
Interscope become a whole hip-hop machine because of, I don't know, this guy named Snoop Dogg. Everything that I'm saying is factual.
But
and the fact that you are trying to sidestep all of Eminem's accomplishments while highlighting 50s, it's like, same label.
Hold on.
Same people, same push, but for some reason, because 50 black and he from Southside Jamaica, Queens, and he make rap records, and this other guy makes records that get played on other stations, we're going to take his numbers away and discount them. No. 50 shit is big on the charts, so it's M's, and you need to give it the same way.
How about you do this? How about you pull out 50's records and pull out Eminem's records like you just did with Doggy Style and Get Rich or Die Trying? Don't
If
tell me
Wayne
you
don't
want to
want it,
No, don't tell me
there
you
you
want to
go being
listen to
funny.
these
If Wayne
Eminem
don't want it
records
with
over to
50,
get
how the
Rich or
hell
Die
M gonna
Trying
want it with
records.
50?
Don't tell me you want to listen to these Eminem records over to get Rich or Die Trying records.
Don't tell me you want to listen to In the Club over Gin and Juice.
I never said that.
But you trying to make it seem like it's bigger.
I
M
never.
got 20 records like that, Mike. That's all I'm saying.
That's evolution. You know, sometimes the people that are gonna break ground don't get, like Charles Barkley's not getting the checks that the people he broke ground for are getting. Barkley didn't get the checks that KG was able to get. It happens like that. You know what I'm saying? It happens like that. That's just part of the game. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like these records ain't huge, because they were.
Man, all I'm saying is that if we're in statistics, Mike, the bell-shaped curve. You got to look at it on a curve. 5 million in '94 and being number 3 total on the charts is bigger than doing 10 million and being number 1 in 2003. That is all I'm saying.
Being number 1 for 9 consecutive weeks, because
it is.
Listen,
Mike,
and I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
1994, nobody even knew what it was like.
I understand what you're saying.
And be a gangster
but we can also say the same
crazy
thing, and we can also say the same thing for LL Cool J and what he accomplished in '85.
No, LL ain't no gangbanger.
That's beside the point.
Matter, Mike.
But we're talking.
This shit don't matter.
No.
Gangbanger. He sold 5 million.
But again, regardless, he had his. You know what I'm saying? He had his adversity too. He's jumping in a game that's not even proven at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, LL's jumping into a game that no one's really had a career in. And he's proving that there's actual industry for this as a solo artist. He's the only one that came in on some solo shit, on some superstar solo shit. And shout out to, Curtis Blow.
If you want to say L, give me L, but don't give me 50.
But all I'm saying is, if you want to play that game that, this person paved the way for this person.
Oh, you saying what L's double platinum looks like for the time that it went out? Yeah, it's comparable.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to say that, you got to grade it on a scale, then we could go back to LL and do that. I'm just saying it sounds like you're diminishing 10 million records and 9 weeks at number 1. You can't diminish that no matter what. Like, that's like people trying to diminish Kobe putting up 81 in the game because it was against Toronto. That's an incredible thing to do, period. We can't diminish that. That's all I'm saying. Clearly, I'm more of a Doggy style fan than I am Get Rich or Die Trying. Clearly, I'm more of a Snoop fan, but I'm not going to diminish what the man did. The record was huge, and it's still huge.
We need to get to the hit interview, and we still can't get no fucking reviews done. We're rating Prodigy today. Let's talk about this album.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, I didn't even know Meth's album dropped last year. See what
I'm talking about? Niggas is wild.
It ain't people's fault, though. There's no outlets for this stuff, man. Like, what we're doing right now, everybody's not doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jay Short with the super chat says, I thought that In the Club was big until It's Going Down came out. In the Club lost a little luster after that because it was no longer the biggest crossover record of that era. It's Going Down.
I think he's a little got timeline a little confused, maybe.
It's Going Down. You talking about Young Jock? 36 Chambers.
Jock is Going Down?
That was a big record. 36 Chambers with the super chat.
We was in the South, so I didn't know how to measure that versus the rest of the nation.
By the metric of saying that 50's legacy is built on Snoop, so is everyone else after LL built on him. Got to keep the same energy for LL. He's a superstar. I agree. I said that and I didn't even read that yet. Mad Max in the super chat says, how LL supposed to move?
For a second. You do understand. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was just about to read Mad Max. It says,
Mad Max got more super chats. He ain't done talking yet?
Yeah, he said, how LL supposed to move those units in an era where rap was considered underground, garage genre, Coop? He's right.
Pause. Hold on. I got both of y'all. Explain to me Run DMC and Beastie Boys then. With they triple and quadruple platinum asses. Explain to me NWA going double out the gate. Since we want to pull the LL's card. No. It wasn't
everybody
there for those records. So explain to me Run DMC and Beastie Boys and NWA's record sales then. Go ahead.
Well, LL did it before.
Ain't nobody trying to hit it at the same time. Run DMC and LL is the same time.
No. I ain't saying Run DMC, but he did it before NWA. and he
But,
was out
okay,
here.
so Run DMC and Beastie Boys are going double, triple, and quadruple, and L's going platinum. And then what? I thought it wasn't available. Then why Run DMC and Beastie Boys moving them units?
But
y'all
again,
can't move the goalpost either. And this is what I keep trying to tell you: 50 move them units because this white boy who knew how to rap signed him. And I'm gonna tell you what I told y'all on Wednesday: Thriller and Purple Rain sold the records they sold because they're more pop albums than they are R&B albums. Y'all need to understand how this shit really worked. That's why I put Snoop selling a 5 million selling record, gangsta ass rap album that is really, really black, over a 10 million selling Get Rich or Die Trying, where a white label, Jimmy Iovine white ass is involved, Eminem white ass is involved, the white populace is involved. Yeah, that's way greater what Snoop did.
so when do you think the radio came out? Because the only thing
85. When did Raising Hell come out?
that was like 87, but
Raising Hell is not 87. Hold on, what's the first one before Raising Hell?
No, they originally came out in like 81, I believe. Now, obviously,
I'm making it seem like Run DMC ain't going platinum and multi-platinum.
No, Run DMC's first, but I'm talking about LL as a soloist though, man. Like
I'm
Run
saying,
DMC is a duo.
So you can say Run's the first superstar more than you can say LL.
No,
based on what y'all saying.
No,
y'all can't just give it to L when he going platinum and Run DMC going triple.
Run DMC is a trio, man,
and Run's the front man.
Is he?
It's like Meth, the front man. Just like Ice Cube, the front man.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Hold on.
Like, what are we doing?
How is Run the front man? Because I always thought DMC was.
It's called Run DMC.
His name just came first.
It starts with Run. Whose house?
And who has the most memorable verse on there? That was a little later on down the line. Huh?
Does DMC have a record like that?
DMC has the best verse on that song.
Whose house it was?
DMC has the best verse on that song. Who has the most memorable part on that record? They call me no. They call me DMC, the all-time great. I bust the most rhymes.
TV show off of the damn song.
You're talking about something else. You're talking about something else. Run's verse.
Turning into life.
How Run's verse go?
That solo song turned into
cool. How Run's? That is not a solo song. DMC has the best verse on that song you're talking about. It's not a solo song. Billy Bars with the super chat says, I always got the locks over G Unit, but on a versus stage, I can't deny the unit. But no, DMC has the best verse on that record. You can't even tell me how Ron's verse goes.
Wow.
You can't even tell me how
people supporting you are wild.
You can't even tell me how Ron's verse go.
I can't. DMC has a better verse.
He does. DMC has the best verse on the Christmas record. DMC has the best verse on most of the songs. Like all of the quotables is DMC. And when I go back and listen to it,
Jizz is the best lyricist in the Wu-Tang Clan.
But he doesn't have the most memorable verses.
Yes, he does. He has the most memorable verse on their breakthrough single, Protect Your Neck. The Wu is too slamming for these cold killer labels. Some ain't had hits since I seen Ain't Mabel. We doing artists sin like Ken did Abel. Now their money's getting stuck to the gum under the table. That what happens when you misuse what I invent. The empire falls and you lose every cent. Yes, he does.
I think Inspector has the most memorable verse
song, and he's the lyricist. And you know who the star of the album is? Method Man, Old Dirty Bastard, and Raekwon the Chef.
Inspector has the most memorable verse on that song, and that record's not a hit.
No, it doesn't, Mike. It literally is rhyme of the month in the source.
I know, even but that doesn't mean
Deck's verse
memorable.
is not better than Jizz's verse, Mike. It's not.
I didn't say it was better. See, you're changing words. More memorable.
It's not even the more lyrical verse, Mark.
You're changing words again. It's more memorable.
Spider-Man, so TikTok, keep ticking.
It's more memorable.
The shit I'm kicking. The Lone Ranger, Code Red. Danger, that's better than Jizz's verse.
It's more memorable. I didn't say it was better.
He starts off the verse.
Exactly. And you just said it on the previous episode. He's their leadoff guy. It is what it is. All I'm saying.
Miller's getting there. And hold on, Mike. He's their leadoff guy, but who's the star in the group?
Method Man.
And who?
Old Dirty.
We're Inspector Deck. No, since Inspector Deck's the leadoff man, but tell me where he falls on the chain of the star power in the group.
Yeah, he falls behind on that. But
right, that lyrical shit don't be mattering like that when you put it in the group setting.
That's what I said.
To the pop.
That's what I said.
No, you said Capadonna. You said you'd rather hear Capadonna than Deck. That doesn't mean star power.
I did. But what I'm saying, getting back to DMC, DMC has the most memorable verses on Run DMC Records. He's the best rapper in the group.
So does the Jizza and Inspector Deck. That shit don't matter.
They don't have the most memorable parts in Wu-Tang Records.
Inspector Deck is on Cream. Jizza's on Protection.
And what's the most memorable part of Cream?
Inspector Deck is on Triumph. Mike, literally their biggest singles, Deck.
Cool.
Jizza.
Cool.
Good night.
Stop front.
Triumph, Cream, Protect Your Neck.
Cool.
No.
Cool. Stop front.
Triumph, Cream, Protect Your Neck.
What is the most memorable part of Cream? Stop front.
The hook.
Exactly. Good night. That's it.
Because being a star matters more.
Exactly.
That's why Run matters more than DMC, Mike.
Well, okay. I'm giving you actual evidence of why these individuals are the star. Why is Run the star then to you? What did he do?
He always was more charismatic than DMC, Mike.
So what verses? What hooks?
Mike, this is what I'm saying about him being the star. I'm not old enough to tell you or qualify why.
But you're qualified enough to tell me he's not that he was and not DMC.
Mike, the group's called Run DMC.
Yeah.
This group's centered around
and his brother's Russell Simmons.
You know, Run was a solo artist, and Russ put that together, right? You know, Run was solo, right?
Run was a DJ.
It was all put together around Run, Mike. You know that, right?
You want to know why? About that.
Because Russ said he was the star. No, Russell Simmons said that he was the star. So that's what I'm saying.
Like, DMC was the one that was already rapping.
Mike, you acting like Coop chose Run. Russell Simmons chose Run.
No, but they chose DMC because he was a real rapper.
That's how they got put together.
No, but they chose DMC because he was a real rapper.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold on. But they needed somebody to pair with who?
The guy who didn't have enough star power to be solo? 36 Chambers with the $20 super chat says.
Very disrespectful.
No, I mean, it's just the truth. Because if it was like that, if Run had it like that, there would be no DMC, right?
I mean, Mike, that's easy to say. Like, you wouldn't say that about any member of Wu-Tang Clan
like
that had the solo catalog. If that's the case, Wu-Tang Clan didn't need each other, Mike. Like, right. Like, what are we talking about?
No, it's a little different. You're talking about two people as opposed to 9. They came through as a unit.
Big Boy needed Andre when you look back at it?
I think they needed each other, yes.
Okay.
I've been very vocal in saying that.
Mike, but once again, who the star? Who get the credit?
Who the star in Outkast?
Yeah, who the star?
According to them, is Big Boy.
According to who?
According to the Dungeon family. Gip just said it. $20 super chat for 36 Chambers. It says, the In the Club and Gin and Juice argument is a different topics. Bigger is, by definition, means more sales. Inflation also doesn't apply to music, or Drake would be selling 40 million. So if it was now, he said music sales have actually decreased. I think that's a great point. 36 Chambers
Not
says
in 2003.
also.
Not in 2003.
What singles now sell 10 million? Not one. Jay Short with the super chat says, Game could have done In the Club. Buck or Jeezy too. Only Snoop could have done Gin and Juice. I don't think anybody else could have done In the Club with 50. That, I mean, like I said, his hook game's crazy. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Mike, M is branded as a hip hop artist. Always has been. You know what? Let me look this up real quick. Since we're having seems like we're having a bunch of a research show. Let's see. Genre. Let me go to some of these singles. Slim Shady LP. My Name Is. Genre, comedy hip hop. Oh, interesting.
Let's review Hit Boy album. Ridiculous.
That's what Wikipedia says. I didn't say that. Comedy hip hop, huh? Okay.
Mike, I can't even trust anything. Hey, Mike, you do know that everybody watches us, right?
I do. I'm here to tell the truth. Guilty Conscious, horrorcore. Okay.
Horrorcore, so a Dr. Dre record is horrorcore.
Horrorcore.
Natural Born Killers is more horrorcore than Guilty Conscience, Mike.
Yeah, I agree with that. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Mike, M's okay. Yeah, I just read that one. Let me see. And then we'll get to this Hit Boy album. But yeah, people say they like when we disagree, so there it is. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Mike wasn't M at Scribble Jam.
Mind playing tricks on me.
Right. 36 Chambers says, Mike wasn't M at Scribble Jam. That ran for years before and after M did it, didn't it? It also included a bunch of notables. Not a brunch. I want to go to a brunch. Also included a bunch of notable artists over the years, right? Scribble Jam. Okay.
Listen to what I'm saying, Mike. When I call Snoop rap's first superstar, I'm not trying to discredit Run, DMC, Curtis Blow, Kool Mo D, Grandmaster Flash, LL Rocket. I'm not trying to. Rap was still an underground and a cultish thing, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
You don't feel like LL kind of pulled rap out of that to a certain extent?
I think to a degree, I Need Love pulled us out of that. But also, you have to understand, and this is what I mean. Rap was so cultish at the time. I think people are forgetting that he got castigated for that, and that's part of what made people say L fell off. When L started making real hit records is when people started saying in hip-hop culture, L was falling off. When I'm telling you Snoop is rap's first superstar, well, he's the first person to make like the hit record for the intention of making the hit record, and he didn't get castigated for it. It was still something that the hood got down with, as in What's My Name? Gin and Juice, Murder Was the Case, Doggy Dog Work. Like, no, those are bangers and those are singles, but those were popular records that the hood still vibed with. Every nigga on the block wasn't fucking with I Need Love and Going Back to Cali. And Mike, I lived that. The dude sitting upstairs in my house, this nigga will show up and start grabbing the drill and just start putting stuff together. This nigga is literally walking around my house fixing shit right now. But once upon a time, Mike used to be the guy that put me on the hip-hop records. And when they were growing up and listening to stuff, I can remember when we were kids and my older cousins were talking about how LL had fallen off because he was making shit like I Need Love and I'm Going Back to Cali. And you know that happened. That's where Mama Said Knock You Out came from.
But just to play devil's advocate, LL had to take those lumps because he was, getting in, going towards uncharted waters. And I think that a lot of those lumps that he took, they paved the way for Snoop to be able to be that superstar. Yeah.
Absolutely, unequivocally. So what I'm telling you is LL Cool J, in my mind, rap's first star. Snoop, rap's first superstar. It's like a path that gets paved, Mike. That's why I'm telling you, it's like, no, 50 path only exists because LL became a star and took the lumps. Snoop brought it to fruition, became a superstar. And then the role started to happen after Snoop. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was Mike, you had to be great and make a great album that people liked and that had hits on it to sell records.
Mm-hmm.
Snoop changed that.
He had hits.
After that, he made it viable. Biggie, people like Biggie could become a superstar now after Snoop.
No, that's real. I'm looking at the winners of the Scribble Jams. And
are we really going?
Eminem hadn't won any of those. No. Juice won in
Very
97.
problematic that we're doing this. Hit Boys album, please.
All right. Mad Max with the super chat says, and Coop, you're going to stop your LL slights. LL means more to hip-hop than your favorite rapper. LL is the reason hip-hop got out of the basement.
I love LL. I'm just honest. I love what LL does. I love what he represents. I love what Rock the Bells represents. It took too damn long for him to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's a legend. Mr. Smith is classically underrated as an album. In my opinion, that might be his best album in a lot of ways. Because he's the songwriter, the MC, and he's the whole package on Mr. Smith. The production's there. So I'm not knocking LL. I'm just calling it like I see it.
It's taken too long for Snoop to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well.
That's some real shit too.
Yeah. Gary Pierce with the super chat and Wu-Tang. He says, One More Chance remix was number 2 on the Hot 100 in 1995 after MJ. Bad Boy had 5 Hot 100 number ones in 97. Shout out to Mad Max with the LL Love. Yeah, definitely. That's awesome, man.
Think about this, record. Mike. I Need Love, Jingling Baby, I'm Going Back to Cali. Them records ain't going number one. Snoop not going number one. It's not time for that yet. People are still getting acquainted with this culture. You do not go number one in a white-ass country where you only represent 10 to 20% of the population unless the other side latches on. Snoop is the latch on.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Deck has the most quotables behind Meth and the Wu. Yeah. Deck has the most quotables over Ray?
No, I'm about to say, why you even playing with Ray like that?
Michael Williams with the super chat says, Mike, I was catching up on some of the past shows, and in one of them, you said 94 was Snoop's year and 95 was Big's. Just wondering why you say 95 belonged to Big when Pac had the number one album with Me Against the World. Well, because Big was actually outside for it. And, Pac was incarcerated, unfortunately, even though he was still able to go number one with an incredible album. Big was everywhere performing, Ready to Die, had the remixes out there, was jumping on other people's stuff. The Total, Can't You See, that was 95. Junior Mafia, Get Money, all that stuff, that was 95. Players Anthem. Big was out here in 95 heavy. One More Chance remix, that was 95.
Get Money remix and One More Chance remix same summer.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you something. We got one more Patreon we about to do. What do you think about Me Against the World versus Ready to Die?
I was thinking about us doing just the Biggie versus Pac thing.
Who you taking?
I mean, whoever you want to take. We're big fans of both.
I'm ambivalent.
I'll take Pac.
I don't like that at all. I don't like that you did that. I want to take Pac.
You want to take Pac? I'll take Big.
No, that's cool. I got Big.
I know you're a huge Big fan too. I mean, so am I. But
so I'm gonna tell you why I'm a big fan, and people don't understand this. I'm actually more of a Pac fan. Cuz who's upstairs right now? Cuz who's upstairs right now doing whatever in the house. You know this Biggie picture. The only reason this Biggie picture is sitting on the wall is because he bought it for me one day. Mm-hmm. He bought it for my birthday. That's why it's sitting up there. It's not even about me being a big fan. My cousin bought it for me. And when he bought me the painting, he told me, he's like, the only thing that's missing is for your flow to get sicker like this. So he bought the painting to inspire me to get my flow sicker. He's like, no, you got everything. He's like, your content, your songwriting, your structure. He's like, you done turned into everything. He's like, I just need your flow to be sicker. So he bought me the Biggie picture because he wanted my style to be sicker. So that's why the Biggie picture is sitting up there. It's not even about preferring Big over Pac. My cousin, who taught me bars and how to rap, who's sitting upstairs right now, who just pulled up, he bought this picture for me when we were recording about making my flow sicker, and he is literally upstairs talking shit because he can hear me right now. Saying,
do you want to take Pac?
I'm ambivalent. I'll take Big.
Okay.
He said he's not sitting up here working on my house, right?
S.B with the super chat says, instead of A2HH Cypher, y'all should do 3 rounds battle against each other. That would be dope. I want to see a battle. Lord.
About to do the Cypher. Ooh, Mike, you want to know what I thought? So, you had some beat ideas right quick before we get to the hit thing. What do you think about switching it up and catching one of Hit's beats since it's available?
They are available. I thought about that. I don't know what that looks like as far as copywritten material from YouTube standpoint. So
right.
But yeah, we could possibly do that.
Mike, because I've been listening to Murder Was the Case. Because it's available. What you think about the You Better Recognize beat, Mike?
That's a hard beat.
It is a hard beat.
I mean, everything on there.
Yeah.
Mad Max with the super chat says, this is like saying Magic's not a superstar because Jordan took it globally. Like, stop.